Hello and welcome to Trial TV Live. I am the Squeegee of Justice. Thank you so much for joining us today as we are turning our attention to a trial out of Tampa. This involves two rival rap gangs out of Jacksonville. And with the trial starting next week, we are going to be doing a couple deep dives into the history of these two gangs and how we got here, and hopefully make some heads or tails out of it. So get comfortable, settle in, and let's get started.
Only getting started when it's midnight, keeping it tight if a nigga wanna go to war. It can get dark but we stay bright, coming like a knight, it's on sight if you touch my sleeve. Niggas round there wanna disagree when it's clear that I'm speaking facts. Man like me, you know I'm proactive, never gonna stop till I see the big man's on flats.
Hop on the front door, it's like midnight. Don't lose your grip cause you might fall out again. Off-white whip, need for speed, I'm not switching the lane. Pick up the pace, bro like that, and we're back to the base.
Back to the base. Back to the base. No, I can never act. Been tryna stack up racks on racks. Boys in the back wearing all black, staying on track. Better chef, show you gun, and that's on me. Out here getting this beef. If you work for the devil, better retreat. Coming too icy, coming too clean. Could never move shady, ain't no feed.
Shotgun, London, what's the outcome? You know, I'm a madman, just can't stick to the program. Raise up the heat, keeping the tension, shifting the gear to a different dimension. Red light, speed up, take off. Hop on the front door, it's like midnight.
All right, welcome in everybody, welcome in. Good to see everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Who is with us as we begin our deep dive on the Julio Foolio murder trial? Let's see, who is with us? Before we get started, let's greet everybody. YT Hazel, AWOL, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Good Vibes Only, Camilla, thank you for joining us. Good to see you guys. Allison, hello, hello. Snap, good to see you. Yes, this is new. Hopefully we can answer your questions as best as we can as we go through our deep dive. Grampy, good to see you. The pretty chick, good to see you. Joy, hello, hello, welcome in. Sherry, good to see you. Kimbers, good morning to you. Grampy, good luck at your rehab. Hopefully that will go well for you. Brenda, good morning. Allison, good to see you. Ooh, you lost your fence yesterday. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully you can get that fixed pretty easily. Kathy Davis, good morning. Good morning, welcome in. Good Vibes Only, good to see you. Richard in the kitchen, good morning. Camilla, hello, hello, welcome in. Get comfortable, everybody. We are going to be first covering the history between these two rival gangs. So that's where we're going to start today. Kalia, how are you? I was hoping you would join us. I think you can give us a lot of insight on this as well. Deviant, good to see you. UT Texas, hello, welcome in. Heidi, hello, awesome. So glad you joined us. Iowa Backyard, are you ready for some football? Amy, good morning to you. Nevar, good to see you as well. Aussie Gardner. All right, Snow Caddish, good to see you. Blue Star, thank you for joining us. Bama Green Eyes, Deb B, good morning, good morning. Hey Gordon, how are you? And Barry's with us as well. All right. Miss Bree and Holly, check your email. I'm not going to have a chance to check much right now, you guys, because I'm going to be reading from notes that I made. So I'm not going to be really available in chat while I go through this, but I will take time to stop and see if you guys have any questions. So I'm not going to be too present, so I do apologize for that in advance. So let's get started. All right. All right, our story comes out of Jacksonville. This is in Florida. It's often called Jax, J-A-X. So if you hear me reference Jax, or if you hear other people reference Jax, Jacksonville is also considered Jax. So it's in, let me turn that off. We don't need to have that on. All right, so it is the largest city in Florida. It's one of the biggest in the entire southeast of the United States. It's located along the Atlantic coast of the north in northeast Florida. It also serves as the seat of Duval County. So if you hear people say Jacksonville, Duval County, Duval, it's like Miami, Miami-Dade. So Miami is the city, Dade is the county, Miami-Dade is the county. So if you hear Jacksonville or Jax and Duval, those are one and the same. So in 1968, Jacksonville merged with Duval County in a unique city-county consolidation. That move dramatically expanded the city's boundaries and population, bringing most of the county under one unified government. Now today, Jacksonville has a population of just under 950,000 people, making it the 10th largest city in the United States. Its broader metro area is home to more than 1.7 million residents, ranking it among the largest in Florida. Now, geographically, Jacksonville is massive. It covers roughly 900 square miles, making it the largest city by total area in the United States, spanning both land and water. So this is a map of Florida. So you can see Jacksonville is on the northeast coast of Florida, for those that are not familiar with it. And here's a closer view of the city. Now, because Jacksonville isn't dense, it's spread out and segmented. Now, the St. Johns River, which you can see right there, cuts directly through the city. And then you have Interstate 95, which divides north and south. Then you have Interstate 10, you have I-10 that cuts east and west. So essentially, you have it divided into 4 quadrants. You have industrial corridors, rail lines, and bridges that separate these communities. But these aren't just roads and waterways and that kind of stuff. They do function as barriers. So instead of one unified city culture, Jacksonville has developed into clusters of neighborhoods with strong internal identity and limited crossover. So now this is where our story begins, because you have these different areas that are delineated very clearly and marked off very concise. So you have the north side, you have the west side, and you have the east side. So Jacksonville isn't just geographically separated, it's also its identity. So north side isn't just where you live, and west side isn't just a commute. These areas represent where you grew up, who you're connected to, and what spaces you move around safely. So because of the city's size and separation, people often grow up rarely leaving their immediate area. So now that creates tight social circles, as you can imagine, strong neighborhood loyalty, and it's clear that there's us against them, insider versus outside boundaries. So when conflicts form, they don't just stay personal, they become geographic. Now, Jacksonville has deep economic contrast. Some parts of the city, especially closer to the beaches or newer developments, have higher medium-priced homes, they have better schools, and they have more job access. But now there's other areas, particularly the north side and the west side, they have long-term underinvestment, lower household income averages, higher unemployment rates, and fewer career paths. Now, when opportunity feels limited, people build identities in other ways. In some environments, you have respect equals safety, you have recognition equals leverage, and visibility equals protection. Now, let's move into the music of Jacksonville, because that's very, very important. All right, so in many cities, rap music is storytelling. In Jacksonville, it often became real-time communication. So artists weren't just making songs, they were referencing real neighborhoods, they were mentioning real individuals, and they were responding to real events. Music became a way to claim your identity, build trust within that community, a way to respond to conflict, and a way to publicly signal alliances and rivalries. So the earliest mainstream successes for Jacksonville came up in 1994 when 69 Boys dropped their classic party record Tootsie Roll. And that was followed by Quad City DJs with Come On and Ride It, and that was in 1996. Then you have D-Lo, you also have Keezy, you have Lil Brad. They came out with songs like Who You Tellin', Buckin' to Jack, and K-Fi. And this helped inspire a new direction for the city. Now that leads us into drill rap. So, what is drill rap? All right. Drill rap started in Chicago in the early 2010s. Artists like Chief Keef there and Lil Durk were part of this wave that felt very different from what other people were used to. It's not polished. It's abstract. It was direct. It was aggressive, and it's often tied to real life situations happening in their neighborhoods. Now, the word drill itself refers to carrying out violence or retaliation. It's not just stylistic detail or anything. It's part of the foundation of that genre. From the beginning, drill music has had a closer connection to real events than most other forms of rap. Now, what separates drill from other styles is its general storytelling. It often includes real names, nicknames, locations, and references that are immediately recognizable to the people involved. Now, even when things are coded, they're usually not ambiguous to the intended audience. And as we go through this and we hear more about the two rap gangs that are involved, and we look into their lyrics, they're very, very explicit at who they're talking about and who they are dissing. Another defining feature of this is the back and forth. So one group will drop one record, the next a day later or a week later, the other group will drop another record, basically just dissing each other and calling each other out. So one song leads to another, kind of builds upon each other. So over time, the cycle builds into something bigger than music, right? So if I'm dropping something about you're part of the world, and unfortunately then violence comes in, and then they start singing about that. So it becomes bigger than the music, right? It becomes this form of communication. So, and then you have social media. So once social media took off, then it really exploded. So it's not just private, it's not just local, then it becomes public to the community, to the nation, and then ultimately to the world. So as drill spread beyond Chicago, it evolved as expected. So it goes over to the UK, right? So then it originated in South London around 2012 and had a darker tone, and it was distinct to those artists. So we have Central C, we got Digga D, and we've got 67. Then it went from Chicago over to the UK, and then it came back to New York. So then New York City followed with its own interpretation. So New York drill rap emerged around 2014, and it was pioneered by Bobby Shmurda and was repopularized by Pop Smoke in 2019. Now, eventually, the style came down to Jacksonville. So you've got, in Jacksonville, drill became closely tied to ongoing conflicts between groups like ATK or 1200, which refers to the 1200 block, which is where they grew up, where they represented, and then you have KTA, which is the 600 block. So that is Julio Foolio. That's one of his videos. So songs reference real incidences, and instances were followed by real new songs. So over time, this line between documenting events and influencing became harder to separate. And then social media just changed everything. So again, this is a screenshot from one of Julio's songs. So social media. So this is Julio's, and he is the victim in this case. Ultimately, he is the victim. So this is screenshots from his Instagram. So social media didn't create the conflict, but it removed the space between events. So one group drops a song, and then there's a response within hours, and then a post goes up, and then people react to that, and then it just keeps going back and forth and back and forth. There's really no cooling off period, right? There's no time for people to reflect and say, okay, like when somebody gets shot and killed, and then somebody goes on social media and posts about that, then the other side or the opposition, they see that, then they respond to it, and it just goes back and forth and back and forth. And here are some more. This is when Julio got shot, and we'll talk about this going forward. But he posts about it pretty much immediately. So the two neighborhoods that we're going to focus on include Julio Foolio and Yungeen Ace. So they did not come out of a vacuum. They came out of two very distinct neighborhoods. So they came from sections that were geographically divided, economically different than other parts of the city, culture where identity is very much tied to location, and the music that they represented, that they put out, represented their close ties to their neighborhood. So let's get into the world of Julio Foolio. All right. To understand Julio, whose real name is Charles Andrew Jones, you have to understand the 6th block of North Jacksonville. Now, Julio grew up in the Hilltop Village Apartments, which is 1646 West 45th Street. And he describes this as literally a war zone and a very violent side of Jacksonville. He was called the most hated rapper in Jacksonville. So Julio's exposure to violence wasn't something he found in music, it was his childhood reality. He witnessed his first murder at the age of 12, having watched someone get shot at close range, and then he lost his father at 13. His father was shot twice by somebody who was seeking revenge on him. By 15, Julio had already been a target. He was shot in the leg while getting off of a school bus. He had got kicked out of one school, and he was attending an alternate school when he was shot. He bought his first gun for protection in the 7th grade, saying he was already beefing with older boys, and they had advantage with guns and cars pulling up. Even before he reached the age of 20, he claimed to have buried approximately 15 of his closest friends. This early trauma hardened him, leading him to become the face of KTA, or Kill Them All, a group that rose from the remnants of PCE, that's Problem Child Entertainment. And they, in 2017, there was a massive federal RICO case against them. He rapped often about losing his friends, Javante Robinson, Vontae Land, Kendra Alston, and Nuxie, which is also known as Strap. Now, his first video was coming up. So this got him attention. This was followed up by Who I Am and Industry Invasion. So he connects with his longtime friend and collaborator Kojak at this point in time, and he meets with his cousin Zion Brown, along with Tiki, and these are all names that you'll hear as we move forward. Tiki, Bibby, K Shorty, and Dirk. And unfortunately, they all have lost their lives, but know those names: Zion Brown, Tiki, Bibby, K Shorty, and Dirk. Now, Lil 9, you'll also keep that name in mind. He comes from the A block, or Arlington block. Now, that's east of the river, but considered the south side. Now, this crew is called Y&R, Young and Ruthless. Not Young and Restless, but Young and Ruthless. So now let's get into the blocks. So we have KTA. All right, so we have, let me go back to here. So this is KTA. They're the 600 block, Kill Them All. Now this is just a very, very small portion of the group. There is a lot more players involved. It could have gotten out of hand real quickly. So we decided just to focus on some names that come up over and over and over again that were very, very close to Julio. But he was, there are many, many more, like many more people involved, but we're just sticking with this small group just so we can kind of, keep it somewhat contained. So KTA, led by Julio Foolio. Now they're centered on the north side 6 block. So here's the 6 block. So you've got, it's considered south even though it's on the east side. Then you have ATK is Ace's Top Killers, which we'll get to in a second. That's Yungeen Ace. But for now, we'll just focus on KTA. So KTA included alliances with Y&R, Young and Ruthless, from the Arlington area, which is south side. And then you have VTA land, that's Callaway Cove and Washington Heights. All right, so KTA is a rival Jacksonville group associated with Julio Foolio and represents the opposing side of one of the most infamous rap feuds. Their music often directly responds to ATK, which is Ace's Top Killers. He's part of the 1200 block, referencing specific events and individuals tied to that conflict. They blend storytelling with real-world tensions. All right, we're going to stop here. I'm just going to check in with you guys, see how you guys are doing. If you guys have any questions, let me know. It's a lot to follow. It's a lot to understand, and we're going to do our best to help you guys through this and understand it. So if you have any questions, let me know before we move on to the other side of the beef, which is Yungeen Ace. All right, now we have the rise of Yungeen Ace, Kiata Bullard. So Yungeen Ace's story begins in Chicago before he moved to Jacksonville as a child. He eventually settled on the west side. He started rapping at 14 and he fell in with the Yungeen gang. Now they included Flip the Yungeen and Trigger Roma. So let me just check back with you guys to see if you guys had any questions. P.I. Sam is representing Davion Murphy. She's representing Davion Murphy. All right. So, Yungeen Ace, he was sent to jail on a juvenile charge, which helped him in a street cred while dropping Go to War. And as you can see, you're going to start to see a pattern develop, where these young men, and they're in their teens and then 20s, and they brandish a lot of firearms, like a lot of firearms. So Go to War had 100,000 views in the first week, and it became his first hit, and it put him on the map. Now his blood brother Quan Quan and his blood brother Quan Quan, and then 23 appear in the video. Let me pull those up. So that's his brother. So as you can see, they're brandishing weapons all the time. All right, then he connects with rappers on the east side, and this then evolves into ATK, or Ace's Top Killers. It could also be Attack. But for our purposes, we're going to go with Ace's Top Killers. Now, they had built strong alliances with the 1200 block. Now, that includes Melvin Park. Now, Melvin Park is at 4554 Jade Drive West, and Queso was part of this crew. Now we'll hear Queso, his name often. He often rapped that he would kill just about anybody. So this area stretches from the TIA Bank Field to Evergreen Cemetery. Their affiliated groups include Jump Out and Cuckoo Gang. They often represent under the banner S4C, which is Spaz for Corbin. And that's in honor of their fallen friend, Corbin Johnson. Keep that name in mind because we'll come back to Corbin Johnson. He's a very, very, very big part in all of this. So it's around this time that Ace connects with Spinabenz, who's also known as Noah Williams. Wappa with the Choppa, also known as Reginald Williams. And Spinabenz and Wappa are brothers, as you can see there. And the full ATK crew is formed. So we have Queso, who's also, his name is Hakeem Robinson. We have 23, Royal Smith Jr. We have Spinabenz and Wappa with the Choppa, Noah Williams and Reginald Williams, respectively. All four of these, including Ace, are very prominent players in this story. Some are still alive, some have passed away. All right, so the spark of this blood feud. So up until now, 2013, 2014, they're just rapping, right? They're just dropping songs, singing about their life. And then 2015 is when it starts. So there's a Kodak Black concert. So the modern rivalry, and let me just back up a second. These gangs didn't just come out of a vacuum, right? These gangs had been around for at least a generation. So Queso's dad, we'll get into him later, but he was the leader of one gang back in the day. So these guys didn't just all of a sudden just wake up one day and be part of a gang. These gangs had been there for generations. And then as the young people come up, the older guys either they die or I don't know if they retire. Maybe they can retire. I'm not sure. But then these younger guys come up. So this modern rivalry was sparked when a turned-down handshake at a Kodak Black show, led to a fist fight. So two rival gangs got together. There was a handshake offered, and it was turned down. So then it was like that kind of sparked this feud. And then there was like this tit for tat. So you have KTA, which was also a PC gang, and then you have ATK, also known as, you'll hear references to 187 or Out West. Now, according to news reports, what began as a tense but civil handshake between two rival gangs devolved when one member refused to shake hands. A bigger, stronger rival slapped him. A witness said that was disrespectful and everybody was fighting like a rumble. Being kicked out of the concert, instead of fighting, we were shooting. So now what happens in December of 2015 is just, it gets out of control very, very quickly. So before we get to Aiden, so the trail of events includes a December 3rd, 2015, Avery Suge Knight. He was shot and killed. Then on Christmas Day, a 3-year-old girl was injured in a drive-by. Then we have a December 17th shooting of Keon Mason. He was riding his bike. Then you have a January 6th, 2016 shootout between two speeding cars. Same day, January 16th, there was a shooting on Pippin Street. January 18th, there was a shooting at the Hilltop Apartments. January 24th, Breon Mason was shot at a dollar store. You have Matiko or Tico Brown on January 26th. He was shot. Then you have a retaliation shooting of Jarvis Jarvo Thompson on January 29th. And then 2 hours later, Aiden McClendon was shot and killed. Now, police believe that McClendon's cousin, shown here, 22-month-old little boy, he was related to Wappa with the Choppa. And it was actually thought that that's Reginald Williams, Wappa with the Choppa, we'll just say Wappa. The hit was intended for him, but instead this little guy was caught. So law enforcement said we're talking about a 6-week time span where they were literally shooting back and forth. So this kind of sparks everything. So January 29th, 2016, 22-month-old Aiden McClendon was killed in a drive-by targeting rival gang members based on a retaliation of a shooting earlier that day. Now the shooters, Kwame Richardson and Henry Lee Hayes, they were both charged with first-degree murder, and they are linked to PCE, or Problem Child Entertainment. Because the child was related to ATK-affiliated rappers, Wappa and Spinabenz, this grief became weaponized. So let's get to a news conference on this.
To a local hospital where he later died that night. Investigators believe the intended target of the gunfire was Reginald Williams, a black male aged 19, who is the victim's cousin and who was present in the front yard of 710 Spearing Street at the time of the shooting. Williams is a certified Out East gang member. Investigators believe the shooting was part of an ongoing dispute between members of Out East and another criminal street gang known as Problem Child Entertainment. This is resulting from rap video taunts posted on the internet and other incidents that are still under investigation. So today we are here to announce 2 arrests in Aiden's case. First, the arrest today of Henry Lee Hayes, who's a Problem Child Entertainment member. He's a black male age 16. He's charged with murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, discharging a firearm from a moving vehicle within 1,000 feet of a person, possession of a firearm by an adjudicated delinquent, and shooting into an occupied vehicle. Hayes has been adjudicated as an adult, and he was booked into the PTDF this morning on a no bond warrant. He was transferred from a juvenile detention facility where he was serving a 15-day sentence for violating conditions of a home detention arrest that occurred on February 23rd. Charges against Hayes come as a result of witness identification and forensic evidence. Investigators have recovered one of the firearms and the vehicle that was used in the crime. The second arrest actually occurred on February the 4th. Detectives arrested D'Angelo Wilson, a black male aged 23, as accessory after the fact to Aiden's murder. Again, the investigation is ongoing and very active. Arrests are anticipated. I would like to thank the public for their support in providing crucial information that's helped solve this case. To date, we've received over a dozen Crime Stoppers tips, plus some additional tips that have helped us directly impact and be successful in this investigation up to date. We encourage the community to continue to call in tips, including any information about Henry Hayes or D'Angelo Wilson or any of their associates. We'd also like to thank the State Attorney's Office, Ms. Corey and her staff, FDLE, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and ATF for their hard work and assistance in Aiden's case. So with that, I can answer just a few questions.
Sheriff, you're saying that Hayes was one of the shooters, but D'Angelo Wilson was just helped out afterwards, so there's still at least one shooter at large. Is that correct?
So Henry Lee Hayes has been charged with murder. He is a shooter. D'Angelo Williams, correct, as an accessory after the fact. There is still one shooter yet to be charged. Correct.
How many more suspects are you looking at in this case for charges or being arrested?
We're not going to expand on that other than to say there will be multiple, additional arrests to follow, let me say.
Did these tips come from witnesses or from Crime Stopper tips, or how did you guys get the tips that lead to these 2 arrests?
We've got a lot of information from the community in a variety of ways, and we continue to get tips today, tips and phone calls and different things from the community. So, again, we would ask the community for their support, continued support in this, that they would continue to call us and give us information about this case. So all of that, really. Yes, sir.
Frank Powers from Channel 4. Is this arrest in this case going to help you make some others? There have been a lot of shootings and homicides on the east side of Lake.
Well, this may help with this case, definitely. So we hope that with this individual being arrested for this case, that it may prompt some people to come forward with some additional information. So we obviously hope that it helps in this case, and it very, very well may be able to break loose some information in some other cases that we're working on.
Now remember, this happened in 2016. This was January 29th of 2016. So they caught the 2 guys that did this, Kwame Richardson and Henry Lee Hayes. They were both charged with first degree. So this is what kind of sparked everything, because not only is it a little 22-month-old little boy, but it was directly affiliated with 2 members of ATK, and it was done by the rival gang. So you can imagine what comes out of that. Obviously, people are angry, people are frustrated, people want revenge. So again, we're not covering this case. This is just part of the layers. This is part of the bricks that happen between you take out, a 22-month-old cousin of mine, I'm going to take out your sister. You take out my sister, I'm going to take out your mother. You take out, you know what I'm saying? It just kind of goes on and on. It just fed into everything. So we're not covering this case. This is just the first layer that just kind of started the whole ball rolling.
the size of these two gangs out east, the Problem Child and Entertainment?
I do. So out east, right now, out east is they are a certified criminal street gang. They have 65 members. Keep in mind that some of these members currently are in jail. Some of these members are in prison. This is our intelligence unit, our gang unit, using this intelligence to track the members and their associates. And Problem Child Entertainment has 16 certified members. And again, remember, street gangs are certified by state statute. It defines what a street gang is, and a street gang member is certified by state statute. So members we're talking about have met that certification requirement.
Can you say anything about what the were that led to the shooting?
No, we won't elaborate on that at all.
It was on the
It was on the
They
internet.
were communicating.
Yes.
Now their feed's a little wonky, so it's again, this is from 2016, 10 years ago, so the feed's a little off, but we're just gaining foundation. Thank you, Kaylee, for saying that. Yeah, we're just we're just laying the foundation for you guys, because we want you guys to become familiar. Once the trial starts, you're going to hear all kinds of names. So we just want you to get familiar with these names, know the foundation, so that when we do watch the trial of Julio Foolio, and you're going to hear these names come in, you'll have a foundation and hopefully be educated.
No, we're not going to elaborate on that today. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, we'll be able to kind of close the loop on a lot of this information for you.
Sheriff, you mentioned that Henry Hayes is being charged as an adult. Is the other one being charged as an adult as well?
The other one is an adult.
Okay. Why would Henry be in charge for adult if he's in this case? Why are you guys pursuing that type of action?
Why are we charging him as an adult? He was adjudicated an adult already for his previous record. And obviously, this being a murder case, that's an option that we have and feel like it's the right option to take. Yes,
Can
sir.
I change gears for a second, Sheriff? What's the status of the
Julio Foolio's trial is going to start next week. We think either Tuesday or Wednesday. We're not 100% sure because they're still going through jury selection. It is a DP case, so it's scheduled right now to start either Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So until then, we're doing several deep dives, and just to get you guys Wednesday or Thursday, I'm being told. So next week, Wednesday or Thursday.
So today, I have not spoken to him today. I spoke to his wife earlier. However, he has been up sitting in a chair, taking some visitors today, having conversation with his family and those visitors. So, by the grace of God, he is doing tremendous right now, and we hope that track continues. But he's, still in need of prayer and still has a long road ahead of him to recovery, but doing much better today than we anticipated.
As the Commander-in-Chief, pardon the expression.
Sure.
I would imagine that yesterday was pretty weighty for you.
Sure, absolutely. Not as weighty for me as it was for the officer. So, I can tell you, I'm blessed with a great staff here that does a lot of work. I don't do any of this by myself. These men and women that work around here do a fantastic job every day, and yesterday was about him. So as long or as heavy as my day was, it did not compare to him or his families, obviously. So, we continue to keep them in our prayers.
Another question, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
About Baby Aiden. Obviously, this has been a trying time for the officer as a 20-year-old. How emotional that is for you to find whoever did this. Or people who
In the cases we have, obviously.
All right, this feed is
22. Right.
all right. We're gonna continue on because this feed is acting up. So let's continue on. All right, so that was Aiden McClinton, 22-month-old. Then we get to, and that was January 29th of 2016. Then a year goes by. Before the next major development. So in May 27th of 2017, Zion Brown. This is Zion Brown. He's Foolio's cousin. So this is Charles Jones's cousin, Julio Foolio's cousin. So he was at home with his two younger siblings, and he was killed. He was taken out by DeAndre Thomas, a.k.a. Trey Shorty. Now, Trey Shorty is a close associate to Yungeen Ace, right? So right now, the battle lines are being drawn, and these guys are starting to ratchet it up. So apparently he smashed through a sliding glass door with a brick and he opened fire. Now, one of his siblings was shot, but they're okay. So let's watch a video on this.
Police make an arrest in a shooting that killed an 18-year-old and injured a teenager and a 9-year-old girl. This happened on the west side at this house on Saturday. The teenager tells News4Jax that her family was woken up about 1:30 in the morning Saturday when a brick came crashing through a sliding glass door in the back of their house.
18-year-old Zion Brown was the only adult in the home, along with two teens, a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old boy. Today, police said DeAndre Thomas was the shooter. They charged him with murder. Channel 4's Janice Harris heard from police about the arrest. She joins us live.
And though an arrest has been made, the motive still very unclear, and Zion Brown's family saying they're afraid for their lives. And I want to show you here in the backyard that First Coast Crime Stoppers sign, hoping to make an arrest, which has happened, and some of that police crime tape. But the family has since moved out. Police say it was in this home where 18-year-old Zion Brown was shot by 19-year-old DeAndre Thomas. JSO says that they now have found their shooter. The deadly incident happened early Saturday morning. According to witnesses, Thomas broke out a sliding glass door, walked inside, and began shooting, hitting a 9-year-old and a teenager. They are recovering. 18-year-old Zion Brown died at the hospital. Police say Thomas was found near the Bay Meadows area, 30 minutes away from where the shooting happened. Investigators believe Thomas was not alone when he shot Brown and two children. Brown's family saying that they are fearful for their lives, not knowing why someone would ever come into this home and try to kill them in the first place. Live on the west side, Janice Harris, Channel 4, the local station.
Now, you heard her say that they think that Thomas was not alone, but there's no evidence that Yungeen was there, right? So Trey, he was previously charged with a robbery case that did tie Yungeen to him, but there's rumors that Yungeen was with him, but there's no direct evidence that he was. Now, Yungeen does post in May of that 2018 about his house being shot up while his mother was there and his younger brother Quan were inside. Now, Quan we'll hear about Quan in a little bit. So that effectively ended any kind of truce, right? What you have a 22-month-old little kid getting shot, then you have Foolio's cousin getting shot. That effectively just ended whatever kind of truce that they possibly could have had. So next up is a major moment in the history of these two gangs. We're calling this the Wasabi Japanese Steakhouse Ambush. So the most defining moment of Yungeen Ace's life occurred on June 5th, 2018, during the celebration for his friend, 23, or Royal Smith Jr. It was his 18th birthday. They went to this Japanese steakhouse called Wasabi, and they celebrated the birthday. So Jacoby Grover was there, Trayvon Bullard, who is Quan, that's younger brother of Yungeen Ace. We saw him in one of Ace's videos earlier. I showed you that screenshot. So they're all out celebrating 23's birthday, and they leave, and he's posting on social media. This is the other thing that these guys do. Wherever they go, they post on social media, and we'll see that in Julio Foolio's case, where he's posting where he was the entire night. So if you really want to get somebody, it's not too hard to find them. So and they also do a lot of self-snitching, where they'll just be posting about shooting this person or shooting that person or being here or being there. So again, they're not shy about posting where they are. So they're out celebrating 23's 18th birthday. They leave, they pull up to a stoplight, and they get ambushed. So let's check out this video. Thank you so much, Debbie, for that. Really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. And again, if you guys have any questions, let us know.
Good afternoon. In just the last hour, News4Jax has learned the names of the 3 teenagers shot and killed last night at an intersection near the St. John's Town Center. Detectives have now determined that those teenagers were targeted based on an ongoing dispute between 2 groups, and police say this is not a random act of violence. 19-year-old Jacoby Groover, 18-year-old Trevon Bullard, and 18-year-old Royale Smith were gunned down inside a car when suspects in another vehicle pulled up and opened fire on their vehicle. A 4th man is in serious condition right now. News4Jax reporter Chris Parento is joining us now live from the scene. Chris, what are people saying about this shooting?
Tark, a lot of people are calling this shocking and surprising. Those are 2 of the big words that I heard from people out here in this area today. A very uncommon thing to have happen in the St. John's Town Center area. This only happened about 200 to 300 yards from where I'm standing right now, near where the 295 overpass goes across Town Center Parkway, just in front of UNF. Many people I talked to say they couldn't believe something like this happened, and nobody knows who did it in such an area that's so heavily traveled. Today I went to nearby businesses, the Baptist Health Emergency Center and the Gate gas station right by the crime scene, asking whether they have surveillance video of what happened or what led up to the shootings. Both told me any surveillance video was turned over to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and information about what was on it would come from them. JSO has not released any video at this time. People I talk to who work in this area tell me they don't usually feel worried about being here late at night, but they say they will feel much better once someone is caught.
It's scary. It's kind of weird. I work at the town center, so I'm here all the time. And I mean, it's a really nice area. So, I don't know, it's really scary.
Investigators with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office say this does not appear to be a random incident. It appears to be a targeted incident because of an ongoing dispute between 2 different groups. JSO asking anybody who knows any information about who may have been doing that shooting last night that killed 3 people and left another in the hospital to call JSO or to call Crime Stoppers. Live this evening, I'm Chris Parento, Channel 4, the local station.
So, as we heard in there, so the victims were Ace's blood brother, Quan, or Trevon Bullard. He was shot 3 times, including in the head. We have 23, or Royale Smith there. That was Yungeen Ace's best friend. He was shot 5 times. Then we have 4, or Jacoby there. He was shot 12 times. So all 3 of them passed away. Now, this moment will lead to all kinds of bloodshed, and it will also lead to a song that we will cover later. That just keep this moment in mind, and we'll reference back to this many times, because this moment, as you can understand, 4 shot, 3 dead, as the lyric goes, is going to be referenced often. So some witnesses claim over 120 rounds were shot into the car. And this is coming from AK-47s or Dracos. So Ace regretted posting and alerting the ops, right? So this is what these guys do. They get on their social media and they're like, "Hey, we're here." Again, if you got a rival, if you got an ops, they can find you very, very easily. They're not quiet about where they are. So Ace expressed regret over that. He claims no one was just going to creep up on him like that. So he's suggesting that it was a targeted hit. Now he survived. Ace survived despite being shot 8 times. Now here's where it gets crazy. He got shot 8 times, including in his hand, and that caused him to drop his phone. So he describes trying to shield his brother from gunfire. In a move highlighting the cold realities of the street, he was released from the hospital because he lacked insurance, despite still having 3 or 4 bullets in his body. So he didn't have insurance, so the hospital basically kicked him out. Then, here's where it gets even more weird. Then he posts on social media as well. So he gets arrested. He actually got arrested because he went to a gun store and that violated his parole. So he actually ended up getting arrested.
Breaking overnight.
So again, this is a very, very big moment in the whole history of these two sides.
Jacksonville police have arrested the only surviving victim of the quadruple shooting that happened near the St. John's Town Center earlier this week.
Police say Kenyatta Bullard, who is also known by his rapper name Yungeen Ace, is charged with violation of probation. Last October, Bullard was sentenced to 31 months probation after appearing before a Clay County judge and pleading no contest to accessory after the fact. News for Jax reporter Allison Henning is live this morning. And Allison, how exactly did he violate his probation?
Well, police say he had a firearm on him, which is against his probation, of course. So this morning he is in jail, set to make his first appearance in less than an hour from now. It appears some people, though, are a bit upset and angry about Bullard's arrest. JSO says its communications center received nearly 700 calls in about an hour and a half's time because of a social media post related to the arrest. They say the post advises he is supposed to be in the hospital right now, but is in jail instead. Police say that is not true. They say Bullard was released from the hospital and reported to his probation office on his own. Again, he was not taken from the hospital. As for the hundreds of phone calls, police are reminding people that the misuse of the 911 system is a crime that you could be arrested for. Meanwhile, this morning, JSO continuing to look for whoever is responsible for the quadruple shooting that hurt Bullard and killed 3 others on Tuesday night. They are encouraging any witnesses to come forward with information that can help lead to an arrest. The Florida Sheriff's Association, JSO, and Crime Stoppers are teaming up, offering an additional $5,000 reward. So to be eligible for up to $8,000 now for those rewards combined, you do need to contact Crime Stoppers. Reporting live this morning, Allison Henning, Channel 4, the local station.
All right. So Ace then, he eventually was released. He was released and he is placed on house arrest. So ultimately he's placed on house arrest and he gives an interview as to what happened. Now Julio, for his side, he posts on social media. They should have had a golden scar and med kit. He yelling out, "Help, bro, I'm hit," along with audio tracks about karma being real. Julio continues the disrespect by having T-shirts printed "Rest in Piss 23" and posting Royal 23 and Quan Quan as he smokes a big fat one. A month later, Julio drops "F that." These guys are mad. Up like 5 bodies in the field. Put on my ski. Called up P. I'm going to try and shoot up 3s. He continues rapping, and on the other hand, I heard the whole city cry murder me, and then he drops his address. I'm at 1646 West 45th Street. That same year, Julio's house gets shot up, and his mom, she catches a stray bullet. So that is June June 5th of 2018. Then we go to a month later, July 23rd. This is Trey D and Boss Goon. All right, so now there's a block party reunion on the east side at A. Philip Randolph Park, and there's about 1,000 people there. So let's cue this up. So again, when your best buddy's shot up and you're rapping and you're disrespecting, it's not hard to notice that people are going to get upset at you. All right, so gunshots are fired into a crowd and it kills one man. This is Lawrence David, or Trey D, aka 8. He's a close friend of Julio's. Now he passes away at a hospital. So again, Julio's. This is Trey D. So he gets shot at this block party and he passes away.
This evening, police are searching for whoever shot and killed a young man on the east side. Jacksonville officers say it happened during a block party following an end of violence gathering at A. Philip Randolph Park. But neighbors told News4Jack's Allison Henning that's not right. Instead, they said that it was a family-friendly community reunion.
Orange spray-painted numbers mark A. Philip Randolph Boulevard Sunday after a shooting left a young man dead. Police say dozens of rounds were fired. I walked up and down both sides of the road to see how many evidence markers were left behind. I counted up to 42 of these orange markings along the street and here behind the Jacksonville Children's Commission. Police say the shots were fired while there were up to 1,000 people hanging out at a nearby block party.
Young people now have little or no value for the lives of others, and they solve their problems with guns. So it is very sad to see, especially so close to any home, but in the residential area with so many people around during that time.
I spoke with 2 business owners who live in the area and heard the gunfire. They explained the shooting came a few hours after a family-friendly community get-together. Tell me what happened last night.
Well, we were ending our 8th annual Eastside reunion, and the majority of the crowd moved down to the Brotherhood, where they just have an after party, so to speak. And I was coming out of the house about 10-ish, and we heard like several gunshots, and I ran back home.
There's crime all over Jacksonville, and we just want to clarify that this community is not as crime-ridden as it would seem.
People who live in the East Side community say the citywide violence needs to stop. The sheriff's office says it does not have any suspect information at this time, but if you know anything that can help police in their investigation, they want you to give them or Crime Stoppers a call. On the East Side, Allison Henning, Channel 4, the local station.
All right, so next up is going to be Corbin Johnson. Now, this is a another huge moment in this ongoing beef between these rival gangs. And Jacksonville now is gaining this reputation of violence, even though they don't want it, but they are. It's developing. All right, so now we go to same month, and this is Corbin Johnson.
Where is Corbin Johnson? The 18-year-old's parents say they dropped him off last week at a job interview, and they never saw him again. Now, if you're thinking maybe the teenager just ran away, Jacksonville police say they don't think so. Joy's here now with what's become a painful mystery for a local family. Joy?
Yeah, Tarek, imagine being Corbin's parents. Tonight, this gathering of about 50 people, including the local community advocacy group, Mad Dads, are asking for your help finding this family's son. Looking for answers and to alleviate their anxiety, 18-year-old Corbin Johnson's parents turn to people they know and prayer.
Lord, this mother's heart is grieving.
Gathering with the community advocacy group, Mad Dads, friends, and family at this Northside Vigil, you can see the anxiousness in their faces. Corbin's parents say they have no idea where their son is after his friends called looking for him too.
And they were saying he's missing. They haven't heard from him, and it's not normal for Corbin Corbin is going to text me, he's going to FaceTime me, he's going to call me, and it's been 5 days, and that's not like Corbin to do that.
Corbin's dad tells us he dropped his son off last Wednesday at 5 p.m. for a job interview. Shortly after, another family member returned Corbin to his mother's Northside home around 9:30 that night. They say their son got into a white car and left.
That was the last time we talked to him. I texted him that next morning around 8:39 because he didn't get the job to see how he was doing. I never did get a response.
The site of this vigil, a convenience store at the intersection of Harts Road and Dunn Avenue near I-95, is the place family says Corbin was last seen. His parents told police they were constantly concerned about the friends Corbin had. But in their report, Jacksonville police say Corbin has never been missing before. Now his parents hope you can help.
It's a lot of our young men that's missing, dying for no reason. Let's come together as a community, man. And if anybody know anything, please call JSO, call me, call somebody that you know. We just want to find our son right now.
Again, police are investigating this as a missing persons case. So take a good look. Corbin Johnson has a tattoo you can see on his neck of the letter U. Police say he also has his mother's name, Melissa, tattooed on his left arm and the name Jordan on his chest. His parents say their son often hung out with friends on the city's east side of town. So if you know anything about his disappearance, a reminder, you can call Crime Stoppers and give your information anonymously.
All right, we'll get back to Corbin because Corbin is eventually found. So we'll circle back to Corbin. So in the meantime, Ace turns himself in to Clay County law enforcement. He goes back to jail for violating probation when he went to the mall without permission. Now, Julio, he continues to release tracks, including Dirk's Story, which is an homage to his fallen friends, Kendre, Zion Brown, and Trey D. So that's the Trey D side of that story. Then January 16th of 2019, Ace releases Two Time Screamin' about the night that he was shot and then his brother and his friends getting killed. So now we move forward. To Boss Goon, a.k.a. Willie Addison. Now he's performing at Spring Park, at Paradise Gentlemen's Club, where he is shot and he's taken out. Now he's part of ATK. So the backstory before we play the video clip. So now we have Queso and his father are in a car along with 4 others when another car pulls up and they shoot it up. So Queso's father, Abdul, he drives to the hospital. He was shot in the back several times. He's saying, they killed my son in the front seat. They shot my son in the back seat. They shot my nephew several times. And let's check this out.
Shot in a mass shooting last month is now speaking out about the state of our city and what he feels needs to happen to stop the violence.
I think just as well as they're talking about bringing the National Guard in and all that, I think that's going to be a challenge to the younger guys or whoever out here in the streets, doing what they do.
Abdul Robinson was also shot in the mass shooting. 6 were shot and 1 person died. The man who died was Robinson's 25-year-old son, Willie Addison, who was an aspiring rapper. News4Jax reporter Destiny McKeever spoke one-on-one with Robinson, who now says he wants justice.
And Tariq, there have been no arrests made in that mass shooting. Again, I spoke with the father one-on-one. He says his young son, Willie Addison, was shot and killed, and his other son was shot and wounded. He's still in the hospital, but he says in no way, shape, or form did this family deserve this.
Posted on the fire with D and we get money.
Willie Addison was shot and killed after a rap event at Paradise Gentlemen's Club last month. He was in the truck with 5 other people. His dad, Abdul Robinson, was driving.
I guess 2 or 3 cars pulled up on the side of us, shot inside our car over 100 times, killed my son in the front seat, shot my son in the back, in the head 3 times, shot my nephew several times, a couple more passengers in there were shot several times, numerous of times, and I drove all the way from there to Memorial Hospital, shot in the back myself twice.
It's a story hard to imagine, but Robinson says it was reality and he had to act fast. He says he's been through a lot, including his own trouble in the streets of Jacksonville, but today he wants to clear the air.
Did 11 years in prison, got out 2009, haven't been in no trouble with the law until a couple of months ago, nothing serious, and we not getting the same treatment as a victim. Not saying the police not working or doing their job, I don't want to say that.
What Robinson is saying is that with Jacksonville having 22 murders in the first couple months of 2019, he wants people to know he's not retaliating for the murder of his son.
I want justice for my son. I'm not sending nobody out there. They got quote unquote, I'm supposed to have hits.
And with all the shootings in Jacksonville right now, Abdul says the talk around town is that he is initiating some of it. He's getting retaliation for his son's shooting death. He says that is not the case. He is going to let police do their jobs. Reporting live tonight, I'm Destiny McKeever, Channel 4, the local station.
Now, keep that name in mind, Abdul Robinson. Keep that name in mind because he will come up. He will come up in a little bit. He will come up in a little bit. So he says he's not going for revenge, right? But his other son, Queso, Hakeem, is involved with several deadly shootouts in the following weeks. And we'll hear from Queso and Abdul. Well, remember I mentioned, or I pulled up Queso earlier. We're going to get back to them. They appear later in our story. So 2 weeks after that Spring Park shooting, a 50-year-old cyclist, Damon Rothermel, he shot and killed at Emerson Street and St. Augustine Road around 1 p.m. So in the middle of broad daylight. Witnesses claim it sounded like a gun battle between 2 parties in separate vehicles. So let's check out this. So these guys just they're very brazen in their. They're very brazen. They do it in the middle of the day, and I don't know.
It erupts in a local neighborhood, leaving 1 person dead. Shots fired about 1 this afternoon on Emerson Street, not far from St. Augustine Road. Witnesses have told News4 Jackson those shots sounded like they were fired from a semi-automatic rifle.
I was in the office and I just heard a bunch of gunshots, maybe 15 to 20 gunshots.
It was not a small handgun because the flame was really big.
News4 Jackson reporter Eric Avignon was the first reporter on scene after it happened, and tonight he reports that the person was killed in the middle of the day in an unlikely area.
Shortly after 1 p.m. Thursday, Emerson Street became a major crime scene following a deadly shooting.
There was like 2 exchange firearms, like shooting each other.
Just heard a noise and there were 2 different kind of fire. And
witnesses say it sounded like a gun battle between 2 parties in separate vehicles. One eyewitness who was outside during the shooting said he saw what looked like a muzzle flash coming out of the window of a gray-colored car that was speeding down Emerson Street. He describes that muzzle flash as flames.
The flame was coming out, so that's all I see. I don't see like who's inside the car.
By the time the gunfire ended and the shooters were long gone, a bicyclist was found in the street on the ground. Witnesses say he had been hit by gunfire.
He was all bloody, so I grabbed some rags and ran out to the street and helped.
Was he conscious at all?
No.
They were resuscitating him. Say, please breathe, please breathe.
but he was bleeding like something hit him in the middle of his forehead.
The man was pronounced dead at the scene. A JSO crime map shows that prior to Thursday afternoon's fatal shooting, there had been 2 batteries, a carjacking, an armed robbery, 2 burglaries, and 10 petty theft cases within a half-mile radius of the shooting location within the past 4 weeks. But shootings are considered rare in this community.
You do not hear gunshots on a daily basis.
Eric Avanier, Channel 4, the local station.
So it's starting to get ratcheted up, right? Now both sides are taking out each other. So you can see it becoming more personal. It's not just an affiliate. It's not just an affiliate or somebody who's periphery. It's becoming much more personal and close to home. All right, so this next news clip, this now takes us to February 25th of 2019. This is involving Adrian Gaynor Jr. His name is Bibby, and again, a huge moment, right? We've had a couple huge moments. This is another huge moment in this whole story, and Bibby's name will come up over and over and over and over again. So if you're paying attention, this is one to pay attention to.
That breaking news, a 16-year-old has been killed in a shooting in Jacksonville. Sky Action News Jax live right now over the Hilltop Village apartments. You can see JSO there investigating. Now, this latest shooting makes the 6th child shot this month alone in Duval County. I'm Tanika Hughes.
I'm John Bachman. Let's get you right out to Action News Jax. Brittany Werner live in Moncrief. Brittany, police say the teen was gunned down in the street there.
That's right, and police say they learned about it after someone saw his body lying outside. If you look behind me, you can see there are still officers here on the scene. Officers say they were called to the Hilltop Village apartments just before 3 this afternoon. When they arrived, they found the teen dead in one of the parking areas. This complex is gated, but from Sky Action News Jax, you can see police have the scene lined with crime scene tape. Officers say he was shot at least once. Detectives are now canvassing the complex, trying to locate witnesses and figure out how this happened. They say no suspect information at this time, and they say the cameras at this complex were not working. Now, right now, police are asking anyone with information who may have witnessed anything to contact them. Reporting live in Jacksonville, Brittany Werner, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
So Queso avenged the shooting of his brother by shooting Bibby. So it's Queso that was involved in this. It happened just before 3 p.m. Witnesses say it sounded like a war zone. Now again, Queso he takes to social media and he talks about it. So he basically self-snitches on himself. And then Bibby's mom, she says she won't rest until the shooter is in custody. So it does eventually lead to his arrest, and then he is convicted. So you'll as we go through this, you're going to see more and more that they not only do they post about where they are, but then they self-snitch on each other by saying, I did this, I did that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
The family of 16-year-old Adrian Gaynor Jr. is now suing Hilltop Village Apartments. The teen was shot and killed there nearly 4 months ago. Tonight, News 4 Jax reporter Janice Harris tells us they want justice for their loved one and a safer community.
Adrian Gaynor Sr. is heartbroken that he will never see his son, Adrian Jr., again.
My son is truly missed. It's been heartbreaking. I got to deal with it every day. It makes me tear up every time I think about it. Guns down, guns up! Guns down, guns up!
This march was in honor of Adrian Jr.'s life. No one has been arrested for his death. Now Gaynor's family is moving forward with a lawsuit. They believe the apartment complex could have had more security and cameras.
We're here to state that Adrian Gaynor Jr. didn't die in vain.
We have found this premise to our left, Hilltop Apartments, has failed to provide the adequate security needed for their tenants, for those that pay rent. as well as Cambridge Property Management.
This is a copy of the lawsuit. In it, 3 counts, one of them alleging that Hilltop Village Apartments did not do enough to keep it safe. Councilwoman Jacoby Pittman represents this district. She's outraged.
And for a 16-year-old to get off the bus, to come visit a relative and be shot in broad daylight, I got a problem with that. And everyone in this community is. We're tired of being sick and tired of every time that you turn on the television that there is a loss of a life. And so I want to say that we are behind this family.
Janice Harris, Channel 4, the local station.
We've contacted Hilltop Village Apartments, and they say they were not aware of the lawsuit and did not have a comment for us.
Now, these groups are not one to just sit on their hands and just hang out. So, ATK, Wapa with the choppa, remember him? He posts on Instagram, he posts Bibby's body with the caption, "Spit on dis" with laughing emojis. So, they're not, they don't hide their feelings. Let's just put it that way. And then Foolio drops this song. So this is called Bibby's Story. So the response comes out. This is the response from Queso. So it's obviously blurred out, but that's Bibby's body and then spit on dis. So again, you can understand the anger that goes on. All right, so next up, it's Ace's turn. Ace's turn to get targeted. So now we're at March 10th of 2019. This takes place in Waycross, Georgia, which is just north of the Florida Georgia border. Yungeen's up there for a concert. He's up there for a concert, and they're relaxing. He and his friends are relaxing. They're relaxing at a, I think a Holiday Inn, or Hampton Inn, I'm sorry, Hampton Inn. And we're going to hear what happens there.
Detailing the moments right after a deadly shooting in Waycross on Sunday morning. The rapper Yungeen Ace and several others were outside of a hotel when the shots were fired. Jeremy Brookings died as a result. Now, these calls are just coming into the First Coast newsroom, where our Alex Ositis joins us live. And Alex, you've been going through these calls. What have you heard?
Well, Katie, this First Coast News exclusive comes after several open records requests. And in these calls to Ware County 911, you can hear the different accounts of the situation as it unfolds. You'll hear one of those frantic calls from inside the hotel in just a moment. But what we know about the deadly shooting is this. The first calls came in around 3:30 Sunday morning. A group of men, including rapper Yungeen Ace, were near the pool of the Hampton Inn when they were shot at, according to police. Waycross police arresting 3 Jacksonville men in connection to the crime: Mark Isaac Jefferson, Leroy Gerard Whitaker, and Devontae DeMorris Starks, all facing various charges, including possession of a firearm. Nearly a dozen calls to police made as some described hearing the gunshots and then knocking inside in footsteps. Take a listen to one of these callers describe what's happening just outside his hotel window.
Ware County 911. Hello?
Yes, I'm calling from the Hampton Inn in Waycross.
Yes, sir.
It sounds like there's been gunshots or something here. Not in our room, it's outside our window. It's outside.
Okay, did you see anything, sir?
Yes. My wife saw some guys running or something.
Coming up tonight on First Coast News, starting at 5 o'clock. In the newsroom, Alex Ositis, First Coast News, on your side.
All right. let's see, Brent, if you're watching, I understand that you are on vacation. So your mother-in-law wanted me to give you a shout out. So Brent, thank you for joining us. Appreciate that. All right, so Rollo passes away. Jeremy Alexander Brookins, also known as Rollo. So that was March 10th of 2019. So that hit was meant for Yungeen Ace. And again, Ace survives. He gets shot up. He gets shot at a lot. Gets hit a lot, and he survives. And he is alive to this day. All right, now this is the mother of Rollo, or Jeremy.
Was gunned down near a hotel in Waycross. The police are still looking for the gunman. A Jacksonville mother, she's speaking out after her son was shot and killed in Waycross last month, March 10th, when Jeremy Brookings was killed at a Waycross motel.
Brookings' mother says her son was part of the entourage for local rapper Yungeen Ace, who had performed that night.
The boys that shot my son, I wish they could get into my head so they could see the pain that they caused.
News4JAX reporter Scott Johnson joining us now. He's spoken to Veronica Dixon Brookins and Waycross Police as well, Scott.
I have, and particularly this mother, what she asked to tell me is that her son wanted to be involved in the music industry, particularly with rap music, and she says that lifestyle is now what put him in a cemetery. With tears filling her eyes, Veronica Dixon Brookins says she's mad about the shooting at a Waycross motel after a rap concert for local rapper Yungeen Ace.
My son was part of his entourage.
The rapper's real name is Kenyatta Bullard, who escaped the shooting unharmed, and this isn't the first time. He also was one of 4 shot at the St. John's Town Center and was the only survivor. Now in this latest shooting in Waycross, Jeremy Brookins did not walk away.
They were using high-powered rifles. It was a setup, and they weren't even, it wasn't my son they were after. He died trying to find out what was going on.
So you think there's some sort of
feud
going,
or as they say, they beefing, and it's the dumbest thing in the world.
and he was caught in the middle?
Yes. It was, I can't even imagine another person feeling the way that I feel.
Since this happened, Dixon Brookins says she's fought to get information from police and received almost no information from any of the people with her son that night.
Of all those boys that were there with my son when he was killed, not one of them has reached out to tell me how sorry they are. None of them have helped do anything, shown any remorse.
Now she's demanding justice in the case of her son. Justice, she worries, won't be coming soon.
That's the streets, you know. They don't talk, they don't tell, you know. And it's a shame because only more people are going to get killed until somebody speaks out. Only more families are going to be torn apart.
And Waycross police confirm that JSO is now involved in this investigation with them because so many people involved in this case, in that scene, were from Jacksonville.
So, Scott, let's talk about the Waycross Police Department and their progress in this investigation. Do they have any leads in this case?
Nah, not much. They tell me they've had some leads, but so far, quote, they have had no hard suspects.
I imagine someone knows something out there. Of course, if they do, call the Waycross Police Department. Sure. Scott, thank you so much. We're also following break.
All right, so they did find the shooters, and they were from Jacksonville.
And faced charges after a reported ambush targeting rapper Yungeen Ace in Waycross early yesterday morning. One man was killed, another hurt in that shooting. Alex Asidas joins us tonight from Waycross with new details in the investigation.
The bullet holes here, and right over there, the lingering reminders of this deadly shooting at this Waycross hotel.
Well, it's kind of scary. I mean, thank goodness we were closed.
Ayanna Smith works just across the street from the Hampton Inn. The scene of Sunday's shooting, a group of men, including rapper Yungeen Ace, were near the pool when they were shot at, according to police. Jeremy Brookings killed. Waycross police arresting 3 Jacksonville men. Mark Isaac Jefferson, Leroy Gerard Whitaker, and Devontae DeMorris Starks, all facing various charges, including possession of a firearm.
They work from here, so they brought that to our city, and that kind of scares us.
Smith says she's familiar with Yungeen Ace. Her teenage sons listened to him. The rapper performing Saturday night at this venue, confirmed by advertisements found on social media. No one was at the business Monday afternoon, and our attempts to contact the managers were unsuccessful. Smith says safety is a concern, but the reputation of her city is also at stake.
When things like this happen, then that kind of tone a little stuff down for us.
Coming up tonight at 6, more on the investigation now in the hands of Waycross PD. We're in Waycross tonight. Alex Osiris, First Coast News, on your side.
So that's Rollo. So Julio then, in response, he takes to Instagram saying he's smoking on Rollo, which again is just a diss, saying, you know, when you're smoking on somebody, it's just a diss. And then we will discuss this in greater detail later, but his iconic diss song, When I See You, one of the lines in there is, Rollo died with his heat for speaking on Bibby. So then Queso, in response, remember we were talking about earlier where they go back and forth, responding to each other, dissing each other. So then Queso posts R.I.P. Tiki, which is one of Julio's really good friends. And then Tiki goes on and he appears in Ace's iconic diss song, Who I Smoke. He also appears with Bibby, as we'll see later. So now the sister of Trey Shorty, the sister of Zion Brown, who was shot by Trey Shorty, she in turn got shot 14 times in May of 2019. So Trey Shorty killed my brother and he shot my cousin. She in so much pain and he shot me I can barely walk. I can't hold it no more. Police are not doing their job. We didn't deserve this. My mama keep crying. Nobody don't want this killer off the streets. Everybody hurt my brother. Never did know anything to nobody. Her little cousin, 9 years old. She's innocent. So she's clearly upset. And this is her after she got shot. She did survive. And we do have an arrest, but this person was released. So the beef continues.
High-profile arrest, a Jacksonville teenager facing 4 counts of attempted murder. But in a dramatic turn of events, new evidence surfaced in this case, allowing the 17-year-old to be set free from jail.
And tonight, only on First Coast News, we will hear from the teen's attorney. Cam Eppinger is on your side tonight with this exclusive interview. And Cam, the attorney says his client is innocent and he should be exonerated.
Yeah, that's correct. The attorney says that 17-year-old Caleb Sheffield spent 3 weeks behind bars for a crime he did not commit.
This young man's been thrown in front of Jacksonville as something that he's not.
Caleb Sheffield is now out of jail after being arrested and accused of shooting up a car with 4 people inside. His mother asked we not show his face, which we agreed to since he's a juvenile.
The evidence had to be significant to go from over $1 million to released on his own recognizance.
And although Caleb's attorney Robert Bowers couldn't disclose what the new evidence was, sources close to the case says there's video showing the teen in Orlando following a basketball tournament at the time of the shooting.
So you've got a young man, never been in trouble, college-bound, and then essentially he's plastered all over the news, with the exception of your station, and put in front of the city of Jacksonville as this person trying to murder 4 people.
According to the arrest report, 2 eyewitnesses recognized Caleb from social media and linked him to the crime. However, Bowers says that's not enough.
It should take more to potentially destroy someone's life than the word of 2 people.
We asked our crime analyst, Mark Bachman, to shed some light on how JSO was able to make their arrest. He says typically in cases like this, there are a number of factors that come into play.
If a number of people put them there and there's corroborating evidence, there's some technology that puts them there, either his phone or some cameras that are in a public area that puts them there and identifies them. There's a number of factors that are going to weigh in that's going to make him or her a suspect in a crime.
Moving forward, Bowers added that the state attorney's office will continue to review the evidence in the case before making a decision to formally press charges.
We're facilitating any assistance we can offer so that that ultimate decision is made and made to exonerate Caleb.
Now, if the state decides to formally press charges, Caleb is due back in court on Monday. For now, reporting live, Cameron Leppinger, First Coast News, on your side.
All right, so they arrested somebody, but then they let him go because he had an alibi. All right, you guys remember Corbin Johnson? Remember his name? He was the teenager that went missing. Well, in July of 2019, they found him. And again, I know it's a lot, and we're doing our best to try and make some headway into this. Because once the trial starts, you're going to hear some of these names. And I'm just going to go get some water while this plays.
A Jacksonville man finds what appears to be skeletal remains inside of a bag. Now, we're still waiting for police to identify those remains, but it all happened in a rural neighborhood on the northwest side of town. On your side is Brooks Baptiste joining us now with the latest on this grim discovery.
Yeah, a very disturbing situation, Lou. JSO tells us that they received a call at about 6:10 yesterday evening, and that's when an individual came across human skeletal remains wrapped in a bag. Now, the man who found the bones was working to clear the woods across the road from his home, and that's when his tractor ran over a trash bag that happened to be under a tarp, and he made that shocking discovery.
I glanced back to where the bag was at. That's when I seen all the ribs, the leg bones, the femur, the rest of the bones were laying about 10 feet away from where my tractor was.
Joseph Cummings, who you just heard speak, spent about an hour and a half with investigators after finding those bones. Now, he says the last time the wooded area had been cleared out was at least 5 years ago. So the big question at this hour, how long had the bones been out there? Last night, investigators couldn't say, but an officer said, quote, for a while, end quote. Now, we spoke with a forensic scientist who hasn't seen the remains, but based on the pictures, he says, in part, remains that have been on the ground for years, rather than months, typically would be more embedded into the soil and would have vegetation growing through and over them. So it was too dark to remove the bones last night, but investigators plan to continue that investigation once the sun comes up, and hopefully they'll be able to identify those remains. Once we get more details, of course, we'll be sure to bring them to you both on air and online at firstcoastnews.com. In the Information Center, Brooks Baptiste, First Coast News, on your side.
So remains identified to Corbin. I've got a few more video clips. This was a big moment. This was a big moment in the history of these two gangs, and it will continue to go down, continue to feed into everything.
Tonight, police are asking anyone with information on the death of Corbin Johnson to come forward. Johnson disappeared last July, and then just last week, his remains were found in northwest Jacksonville. News 4 Jax reporter Allison Henning is joining us there live tonight. And Allison, how are his loved ones handling this tragic news?
Well, it's been very difficult for everyone who knew Johnson. Many of them over the last year had hope that he would one day come home. So you can imagine the shock when they learned that he was found here in this wooded area. Corbin Johnson's family reported him missing July 13th, 2018. The 18-year-old disappeared not long after a job interview. Now, 1 year later, his case is being investigated as a murder. I spoke with one of his close friends over FaceTime today. She asked for us not to show her face. Jerika Sims says Johnson was like a little brother to her, and she talked to him the night he went missing 1 year ago.
It been kind of hard, but I always had hope that he'll come back home. I just never knew he'd end like this.
A man clearing out land in this wooded area off Utsey Road found the remains last Thursday. Sky 4 flew over the scene as police gathered evidence. Within 4 days, JSO identified Johnson as the victim. What was your reaction when you did find out it was him?
I'm glad we got closure, but I don't know, my head was just everywhere.
We stopped by the teen's house earlier today. His mother wasn't ready to talk with us, but another family member told us this is not what they expected, and right now, it's a lot to take in. And tonight ahead at 6, our News4Jax crime and safety expert explains how investigators were able to identify the remains in just a matter of days. Reporting live in Northwest Jacksonville, Allison Henning, Channel 4, the local station.
All right, and I have one more video, one more news clip on Corbin. Now, keep all of this in mind as we move forward to the trial next week, right? Keep all of this in mind.
Now beginning an investigation into the murder of a teen who until last week was a missing person. Corbin Johnson was last seen alive in July of last year. Then last Friday, a man discovered the victim's skeletal remains in a wooded area of northwest Jacksonville off Utsey Road. News4Jax reporter Allison Henning is there with new information on the forensic evidence police have gathered since last week. Allison?
Tom, I have been looking into how police were able to identify the remains in just a matter of days. A man found them out here in this wooded area on Thursday, and JSO released the identity to the public just last night. 4 days after a man found human remains in this wooded area, Jacksonville police released the identity of the victim, 18-year-old Corbin Johnson, who disappeared last July. Sky 4 flew over the scene as police investigated. You can see multiple yellow evidence markers and a dog sniffing around the wooded area.
You can best believe that this whole area here where the victim was found was cordoned off, and they went through here with a fine-tooth comb before they would open it up and allow people access to come and go.
News4Jax crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson, who's a 24-year veteran of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, walked through the wooded area with us today. He says typically confirming an identity isn't a quick process.
Something triggered the identity of this particular victim. We don't know what investigators found, and rightfully so, they're going to keep that close to the vest because they don't want to reveal how they know who this victim is because it could interrupt their investigation.
We spoke with one of Johnson's close friends over FaceTime today. She didn't want us to show her face on camera. What would you want to say to whoever's responsible for this?
I don't know what to say. Nobody mother should have to sit right here and just find a child like this. I just hope whoever did it just come forward.
And we did try speaking with Johnson's family today. They were not ready to talk with us on camera. Loved ones tell me this was not the outcome that they were expecting, and right now they are just trying to process this incredibly difficult loss. Reporting live in Northwest Jacksonville, Allison Henning, Channel 4, the local station.
So as expected, Corbin was part of ATK, ACE's group. And their members rep him by S4C, Spaz for Corbin. Then on Julio's side, he posts some disrespecting posts regarding Corbin. So as understandably, that's going to upset the other side. And again, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. They're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And just keep this in mind as we move forward to the trial. So that was May of 2019. So now we go to September. So now Queso another major player in this story. He releases Bibby out with Dirk, Vanta, Zion Brown, Dank, Trey D, who are all close friends of Foolio's on the cover art. And then there's it's got him and ATK BZ smoking the dead op. So this gets media coverage, right? So Zion Brown's mom is not happy about this at all. As you might understand. So here's the song that he releases. So these are all young men that were killed, and they are on Julio's side, and Queso is on Ace's side.
Cover is making its way around social media. The cover shows pictures of men who have been murdered in Jacksonville. Local rapper Queso posted the picture to Instagram. It's since been taken down. News4Jax reporter Corley Peel spoke with one of the victims, Zion Brown's mother. He was shot and killed 2 years ago. Corley's joining us live tonight. Corley, how does Brown's mother feel about the album cover?
Brown's mother is outraged. She feels like the local rappers are glorifying these murders by putting the victims' faces on the album cover. It's unclear if the rappers are directly linked to these murders, but she says it's hard enough having to live with her son's violent death every day, and it makes it worse seeing her son portrayed like this. This album cover, a local rapper named Queso posted on Instagram Monday, is frustrating for parents like Bonetta McFadden. Her son, Zion Brown, is on the cover. She says he and some of the other men in the picture were murdered.
It hurts my heart, like, to see my son on there as a joke. Like, you tormenting victims of these kids. Like, I'm a victim, and every other kid on there, their parents are victims as well.
The caption on the post says, "Y'all DM ATKYBZ and tell him to drop dead, and I'ma drop it tonight." McFadden says in retaliation to her son's murder 2 years ago, her daughter was shot 14 times in May. She believes her daughter was targeted.
He was murdered by someone from their gang, and that person was sending messages from the jail threatening that if my daughter goes to trial, that he would get somebody to kill her. And May 26th, a day before my son's 2-year anniversary death date, they tried to kill her.
McFadden says another person on the album cover is Caleb Sheffield. He was arrested on attempted murder charges in connection to her daughter's shooting in May, but was released from jail 18 days later.
I just want the violence to stop. I want it to be where they can't just say and do anything. You already getting away with murders. Just leave it at that. All that bragging and tormenting of these families is just sad. It's sickening.
Queso's album cover post has now been taken down. McFadden is hoping the tormenting of her grieving family will stop. Again, it's unclear if the rapper who posted the album cover is directly linked to any of the murders. I did reach out to him for comment, but I have not heard back, and he also blocked me on social media. Deontay Thomas is charged in Zion Brown's murder. That trial begins here at the Duval County Courthouse on September 23rd. Coming up tonight 11, we'll hear from our News4Jax crime and safety expert, Ken Jefferson, on why he believes this album cover could be gang-related. Reporting live from downtown, Corley Peel, Channel 4, the local station.
That's actually kind of funny. Queso blocked her on, on social media. All right, so not to be outdone, of course, Julio's crew fires back, literally fires back. So then Queso's mom, her house gets shot up, 27 9mm shots. Now the victim believes that it was Julio and his crew. So officers observed bullet casings in the yard, walkway, and porch of the residence. They also observed bullet strikes, 25 of them, to the front door, exterior walls, upper and lower, and windows of the residence. The victim, Walters, stated she had an unknown suspect or suspects. They were ringing the doorbell and knocking on the door. When victim Walters called out, "Who is it?" and looked out the upstairs window, the unknown suspects began firing a gun into the window and the wall, then into the front door. Crime scene detectives collected 27 9mm shell casings from outside the residence and 2 bullet projectiles from inside the residence. The suspect fled the scene prior to police arrival. A neighbor advised responding officers and detectives that he observed a small gray SUV parked in the driveway across the street from the victim's residence. Now remember, this is Queso's mother. After the shooting, a black male wearing a white t-shirt got into the driver's seat of the SUV and drove away from the scene at a high rate of speed. Victim Walters stated at the time of the incident that she believed that a gang member, rapper Foolio, Charles Jones, documented 6 Block gang member, and or his people were responsible for shooting into her house. Jones is involved in an ongoing dispute with her son, also a rapper, Hakeem Queso Robinson. Again, keep his name in mind. He's a huge player in all of this. On the same day at approximately 900 hours, gang detective M.J. Bullen was conducting surveillance in the area of Helena Street, Duval County, an area where Jones and his associates frequent, when he observed a small gray SUV, a Hyundai Kona, pull out of a driveway and drive away at a high rate of speed. On December 12th of 2019, remember this happened December 11th, so December 12th at approximately 15:45 hours, gang detectives were again in the area of Helena Street and observed the same SUV traveling east on Helena Street. Detective Johnson advised he was behind the SUV, and then a records check revealed it was stolen during a burglary. During the stop of the SUV, 3 individuals fled from the vehicle. They were eventually captured and arrested. Suspects Datavius Martin, documented 6 Block gang member, was captured with a firearm in his immediate area. Suspect Gary Davis, documented 6 Block gang member, was captured after fleeing from the driver's seat, where a rifle was later found. And suspect Michael Pratt, documented 6 Block gang member, was arrested from inside a shed that he burglarized. In speaking with Sergeant Howell and Detective Bullen, it was determined that Subject Davis was the driver of the vehicle, Subject Martin was in the front passenger seat, and Subject Pratt was in the rear seat. So then Julio posts about Queso's mom getting shot at. Then we go to January of 2020. So Queso and Julio are going back and forth. So you remember the name Bibby? Well, Queso drops Bang It Out. And in that song, he disses Bibby. He disses Jimbo, Dur, Kenjay, and Mookie. These are all friends of Julio. So again, they're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then we go to January 15th of 2020. So Lil Buck is shot and killed. So this is really interesting. So Dominique Barner and Queso waited, and remember that cyclist that got shot? Dominique Barner was the one that did that. So Dominique Barner and Queso wait until Charles McCormick, a Lil Buck, left his house and followed him to a shopping center on Merrill Road where he was shot. And off-duty law enforcement was there. They jumped in the car and they chased them. The suspects crash the car. They evade police. They break into a home. They hold a woman hostage and they change clothes. Then Queso's father, remember Abdul Robinson? He picks up his son and he's charged with accessory after the fact. So you remember Abdul? Remember he was talking earlier? Remember they were at that concert and his car got shot up and one of his sons got killed? Well, here's his other son, Hakeem Robinson, also known as Queso. He helps him out. So let's check this out.
Breaking at 5 o'clock, the search goes on for these 2 homicide suspects seen in this video running through a backyard in Arlington. They're wanted for killing a man in a violent crime spree that involved a shooting, home invasion, and a hostage taking. Police describe the two men as armed and dangerous.
The search began before noon today, and the crime spree spanned 3 locations in Arlington. First, a man was shot to death outside a strip mall on Merrill Road before the suspects dumped their stolen getaway car and broke into a woman's home, briefly holding her hostage. Sky 4 is live over the neighborhood right now. We're told that woman is shaken up, but not physically hurt.
News 4 Jax reporter Brittany Muller is joining us live from the plaza off Merrill Road, where police say it all began. Brittany, the suspects have yet to be identified.
Tom, that's right. Those 2 suspects still at large, a heavy police presence throughout the day looking for those 2 men. And this is where it all began just after 11 o'clock this morning, where a man in his 20s was shot and killed right here in this Merrill Road plaza in front of this business. The business also being hit by bullets and is now boarded up. A violent crime spree in Arlington today.
I heard 6 gunshots. Then we heard that the person ran down the street.
Police say an off-duty police officer saw a man shooting at another man in his 20s in this strip mall off of Merrill Road. It's unknown at this time whether the victim and the suspects knew each other. A woman was in this plaza at the time, and she heard at least 6 gunshots.
I did come across the mother of the family deceased.
What did she tell you?
She said possibly that's my son that was injured in the shootings.
JSO says the suspect then drove off in a stolen gray vehicle, and that's when a police pursuit began. Less than 2 miles away on Townsend Boulevard, police say the suspects then dumped the car. Neighbors telling me just before noon they heard the car smashing into the sidewalk, running over a tree, saw 2 suspects getting out, one darting behind this house, another darting behind that one. What was going through your mind when you saw these 2 suspects get out of the car?
I saw the one running towards in my yard toward my fence, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to go secure the glass door because a lot of times we leave it open. So I ran to the glass door, and in the process I saw him cross through my yard over another neighbor's fence and continuing to run.
One neighbor watching it all unfold, others sharing this video with me, hoping the suspects will soon be caught. You can see them running and jumping over a fence near a playground. How scary is this to happen right in front of your home?
Extremely scary, extremely scary. Yes. I mean, I've never had anything like this happen before, so it's very, very frightening.
At the same time, police say a few houses down, a home invasion where a woman was held hostage. She was not hurt. The woman's husband did not want to go on camera and was not home at the time, but tells me his wife was coming out of the bathroom and found the 2 suspects standing in her bedroom. She tried to get them to leave and even tried running, but they held her down. Her husband tells me he's happy she's alive. Jacksonville police says the suspects were picked up in either a red or orange Dodge Challenger. Amid this violent crime spree, authorities making a perimeter and barricading streets to locate these 2 men who they say are dangerous. Police officers on foot, SWAT, K-9 unit, and the JSO chopper were all spotted throughout the day, monitoring this area closely. Police now asking for the community's help. Jacksonville police say the men also changed clothes after they broke into the woman's home. Authorities describing the first suspect as a black male, 5'5", short hair with twists, tattoos on both arms, wearing a gray T-shirt with Permenti Brothers on the back with brown pants and white New Balance shoes. Police say the second suspect is described as a black male, about 5'5", wearing a black hood and a white muscle shirt with black pajama pants with the writing Mountain Dew on them. Again, police have been out here in Arlington throughout the day looking for these 2 suspects. Again, they were last seen, believed to be seen getting into either a red or orange Dodge Challenger or Charger. If you see this vehicle or see the suspects, do not approach them. Again, they are armed and dangerous. Call police if you recognize them or can know anything about this situation. Call Crime Stoppers immediately. That number, 1-866-845-TIPS. Reporting live tonight from Arlington, Brittany Muller, Channel 4, the local station.
So as we mentioned earlier, so that's Queso on the left, Hakeem Robinson, and then his father Abdul, also known as Blue, on the right. So Queso was eventually arrested, was tried and convicted, and his trial took place, I think, last year. And then his dad picked him up. So his dad's the one that picked him up as he was fleeing, and he was also charged In that trial, he actually testifies against his son. So, Queso's fingerprints are found on the handgun of the crashed car. And then right after that, again, they do a lot of self-snitching on themselves. Well, self-snitching. He goes on social media and he posts a waving emoji with the captions, bye bye, on one of Lil Buck's videos. And then he goes and he gets a pedicure. He actually goes and he gets a pedicure with a caption, kill someone, then go get my toes done. So again, lots of self-snitching and lots of brazen shooting and all right. So now next, the community is going to call for well, actually, this is just a wave of violence. Here's a community calling for a ceasefire. Community is getting tired of it, so they're calling for a ceasefire.
To the south side, from the east side to the west side, we're calling for a ceasefire here in our town.
As you're hearing, there are a Jacksonville group calling for a ceasefire on the city's streets tonight after a violent few days in which we've also seen the 28th homicide in the city just this year. Good evening, I'm Jeff Ballin. On your sides, Alex Asidas joins us live from downtown with a closer look at what that group is working on. Alex?
That's right, Jeff. And the Northside Coalition says that just for 1 week, they want to prove to everybody that around the city that they can solve their differences and put their guns down.
Put your guns down. Resolve any potential verbal or physical conflicts on peaceful grounds.
We were in Moncrief as leaders of the Northside Coalition called for a week-long end to gun violence. This a day after the group said it stands with other local civil rights organizations against the call-up of the National Guard.
The National Guard is not trained to de-escalate situations. It's not time for the National Guard to march down Moncrief.
The ceasefire, which is set to run through March 1st, is a grassroots effort, Ben Frazier and company say. They'll spread through social media and directly in the neighborhoods. Frazier calling to those who may be a source of the violence.
And anyone involved in any potential altercations, put an immediate stop action on any plans of conflicts or hostilities.
Frazier spent time Saturday touring the zip code 32209, something that he's been doing frequently in an effort to, in his words, increase the peace. But it was at another shooting on 12th Street that he showed up to the scene before declaring the ceasefire. It's a move he and others think can bide time of city leaders to create short and long-term fixes. Answers he believes must include investment in people.
We've got to spend money not only on police budgets and more police, but on providing job training and job creation.
And Jeff, we are 11 hours into that ceasefire. So far, no reports of any shootings across the city. Now, Frazier says that the Northside Coalition can help facilitate anyone needing any sort of resources to end the violence. We put a link on our website, firstcoastnews.com, to those resources. We're live downtown. Alex Asidas, First Coast News, on your side.
So what follows next is probably one of the more sadder events, and I know there's a lot of sad events that have happened in this story, but this one is sad. Little Aiden getting shot obviously is terrible. This one is sad as well. There's a lot of sadness in this, so just it's just the reality of this. So KTA affiliate member K Shorty, he's out on a date with someone, a 17-year-old, and he is shot, but the woman that he's with is shot, and she's taken out.
It's been 2 months and no arrests have been made in the shooting death of a Ribault student.
News for Jax reporter Brittany Muller is joining us live. Brittany, today the group Mad Dads is looking for answers after the 17-year-old was shot and killed back in March.
Jen, Zach, good morning. That is right. Inandi Weish was an honor student, a cheerleader, and she dreamed of becoming a pharmacist. And 2 months later, today, Mad Dads is hosting a neighborhood canvas looking to find answers and whoever shot and killed this 17-year-old girl back in March. They're meeting at 11 o'clock this morning on Jacksonville's north side on Norfolk Avenue. And take a look at your screens. This is 17-year-old Inandi Weish, who was killed on March 19th in the Sherwood Forest neighborhood on Jacksonville's north side. Family says Weish was in the wrong place at the wrong time when she and a friend were gunned down while sitting in her car. Police say Weish was dropping off a young man in the neighborhood after they gone on a date. A gray car pulled up in the front of her car. Two men began shooting at Weish and her friend. Weish died and her friend survived. News4Jax spoke with Weish's family, who wants answers more than 2 months later after her death. Still, no arrests have been made.
She was a contestant in the Miss Ribalta pageant for the class of 2021, and she was preparing for that pageant when she was killed. And it was even just a very challenging time to have her funeral, to honor her and celebrate her life because of the COVID-19 restrictions.
Again, Mad Dads is meeting on Jacksonville's north side at 9335 Norfolk Avenue in the field at 11 a.m. We will be there bringing you the very latest. And if you know anything about Weish's death, call Jacksonville Police or Crime Stoppers immediately. That number 1-866-845-TIPS. Reporting live this morning from downtown Jacksonville, Brittany Muller, Channel 4, the local station.
So Inandi was eventually, arrests were made eventually, and those would be Roland Ball and Xavier Porter. So let's see this.
All right, so as to counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty. As to count 1, pursuant to law, they sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As to count 2, attempted murder in the first degree with a firearm, a life felony, I sentence you to 40 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. As to count 3, shooting and throwing deadly missiles, I sentence you to 15 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. As to count 4, I sentence you to 40 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. As to count 5, I sentence you to 40 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. As to count 6, I sentence you to 40 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. As to count 7, I sentence you to 40 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. As to count 8, I sentence you to 15 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. As to count 9, I sentence you to 1,473 days in the Florida Department of Corrections. I will run the sentences in counts 1 through 9 concurrently with each other. I will give you 1,473 days credit. I will run the sentences that I just imposed in 2021 CF 837. And this sentencing is happening all in the same sentencing proceeding. I imposed sentence earlier in the probation cases simply because both counsel advised me there were no additional sentencing arguments. And then I'm imposing sentence now after heard victim impact statement, testimony from Mr. Ball's sister in this case, but it nevertheless is occurring in the same proceeding. So I'm going to run the sentence that I just imposed in 2021 CF 837 concurrently with the sentences I imposed in 2017 11673 and 2018 CF 320. So I'm running them at the same time. So that is not to impose additional time on the probation violations. Well, that has the effect of it, presuming that the convictions in the instant case are not disturbed or overturned. $518 in court costs.
The last thing you said, I'm sorry.
I beg your pardon?
The last thing you said for the...
I said that the effect of me running them concurrently is that I'm not giving Mr. Ball additional time on the probation violation because I'm running those sentences concurrently with the sentences imposed in this case, which will have the effect, unless these convictions and sentences are overturned, of him not serving additional time. So I'm running them concurrently. $518 in court costs plus $50 application fee. I'll convert that to a civil judgment. And I just want to make clear on the record regarding the earlier violation of probation proceedings that the court based its findings at the state board's burden of proof by more than a preponderance of the evidence based on the court's analysis and weighing of the evidence. Because that's, as a judge in violation of probation, I sit as a finder of fact, and so that's based on my independent evaluation of the evidence in the 2021 CF 837 case. All right, so Mr. Ball, you have 30 days to file a notice of appeal from the date I rule on the motion for new trial. If you cannot afford an attorney for the purposes of appeal, I will appoint one for you. If the defense were to file a premature notice of appeal, given that the motion for new trial has been filed, I still will have jurisdiction to rule on that. And as I say, I won't press your time. I'll make sure that I rule on that before next Friday, or Friday at the latest, a week from Friday at the latest. I will file that week from today. Okay? All right, so I've imposed the sentences. I'm running them all concurrently with each other, and then, as I say, concurrently with the two probation cases. I've given credit for the 1,473 days time served against the defendant's sentences in this case. Credit was granted to the probation cases, part of which will be calculated by the Florida Department of Corrections pursuant to statute. All court costs, fines, fees, surcharges have been reduced to a civil judgment. I've given the defendant his appellate rights, advising him he has 30 days to file a notice of appeal, and that I will appoint counsel for him if he would like me to appoint counsel. Of course, retained counsel is responsible for directions to the clerk and to the court reporter, and ensuring the appeal is perfected. If you don't, if there's no appointed counsel to follow for appeal. Do you agree with that, Ms. Early?
I do. I'm going to follow up with Ms. Jenkins. I discussed with him.
Okay.
He's on it.
All right. So I think it's, so as we know, trial counsel is responsible for perfecting the appeal, and then if the defendant is represented later by counsel from the public defender's office, the public defender's office is down in the 7th Circuit, but it's trial counsel's responsibility before withdrawing, if applicable, to ensure that the record on appeal is prepared correctly, and also the appeal is perfected prior to being passed on. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any other questions? Anything else that you would like to bring up? Nothing, anything from the state?
Nothing from the state.
All right, thank you, everyone. I appreciate everyone during this difficult time, and court is adjourned.
All right, so that was the conviction in the shooting of Miss Weish Anandi, and that was Roland Ball. So then a few months later, though, cat's affecting my... A few months later, that's Julio, and that's his girlfriend, so she gets shot. So, you know, the beefing just continues on, So So then we're going to move forward to March of 2020. We got Lil PD and Lil 9. So Lil 9 is, let's see. Well, first let's back it up. So Queso dropped a track with Jay the Youngin, Step on Some, and that's where they set fire to Bibby's jersey. So again, Bibby is kind of like just this flashpoint. Everybody just keeps going back to Bibby. And then April 3rd of 2020, Spinabenz, he drops Active wearing a Rest and Piss shirt with an X over Julio's face. Then he goes after Julio's mom in that same track. Julio's, everybody know it. She know it. Her mama know it too. She's part of the war. So they're trying to bring in, ATK's trying to bring in Julio's mom into this. April 16th, 2020. So here we were talking about earlier, they're going back and forth via songs. So April 16th, Julio drops Kendra Alston. It's a tribute song with We Got the Same Dream, I Could Never Hate on Yungeen Ace. So here he is. It seems like he's kind of trying to maybe offer some kind of peace, some kind of olive branch. Then May 2nd, Spinabenz and Wapa drop We the Ops, where they diss Bibby, Julio, and Trey D. So there's We the Ops, and that's they're brothers, Spinabenz and Wapa. Then May 3rd, Antonio Williams, a.k.a. Little Petey, a.k.a. 35, he has 50 shots fired in a northwest Jacksonville in a drive-by shooting, and this happened around 2:30 in the morning. I'm sorry, 2:30 in the afternoon. So let's get to that. So both sides are dropping tracks, within days of each other, dissing each other, and the beef continues.
More than 30 bullets fired in a shooting just this afternoon, leading to chaos in the street. That triple shooting under investigation on Jacksonville's north side tonight.
JSO says it happened around 2:30 today, the 2100 block of Brooklyn Road. That's near Avenue B. That's where News 4 Jax reporter Marilyn Parker joins us live. Marilyn, is there anyone that's still there investigating? I see the police tape is behind you.
Yes, several units are still out here trying to put it together, and they're telling me there's lots of conflicting information. Police say the shooter fired 33 shots, putting 3 men in the hospital, we're told tonight, with non-life-threatening injuries. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says details aren't matching up from a shooting on Jacksonville's north side. They say 3 men, possibly in their 20s, were walking in the 2100 block of Brooklyn Road around 2:30 Sunday when witnesses say a vehicle pulled up, someone got out and fired 33 shots. Police described the shooting as chaos in the street with a lot of people running. JSO doesn't have details on the shooter or the vehicle at this time. We're told witnesses are giving conflicting information on what the car looked like. We asked JSO if the community is in danger. They responded saying shots fired calls have been an issue in this neighborhood for the past few weeks. Police have been patrolling the area, and we were told shortly after the shooting, a deputy pulled up on a vehicle leaving the scene that was taking a person who was shot to the hospital. One man I spoke with off camera describes this area as a war zone, saying more needs to be done about the shots fired calls. And you can see JSO has had this section of the 2100 block of Brooklyn Road blocked off for hours now. Right now, JSO says detectives are waiting for the 3 people shot to get out of surgery to interview them. They're also checking nearby camera systems to hopefully identify the vehicle used in the shooting. And they're asking anyone who may have any information tonight on the shooter or on the vehicle to get an identity to contact JSO. We're live in Jacksonville's north side tonight. Marilyn Parker, Channel 4, the local station.
And the next shooting is just a few days later on June 9th. This is involving Lil 9. Now, Lil 9, again, keep in mind, or keep Lil Nine's name handy because he plays a big role in this as well.
Right now at 10, police are searching for a gunman after a passenger in a car was shot and killed along a busy stretch of Atlantic Boulevard in broad daylight. Sky 4 giving you a bird's eye view. The shooting sent people in nearby buildings ducking for cover.
Just like bop, 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 bop. And like, it just happened fast, man. 10 seconds, maybe everything.
And this is surveillance video of the crash following that shooting in Arlington. We've highlighted the black car seen slowly driving down the street. The car police are now looking for in connection with this shooting. Police say the gunman fired about a dozen shots into the car, with one of those bullets striking the passenger.
News for Jax reporter Eric Avanier is live at that scene. Eric, as you join us, police are saying that this shooting could have had more victims.
Yes, police are actually shocked that there weren't more victims, considering the fact that the shooting happened in broad daylight on this very busy strip of Atlantic Boulevard, where you've got businesses all up and down the strip, including this store where police say the car carrying the gunshot victim crashed into the glass wall in the front. And get this, police say based on the shells that they recovered from the scene, the murder weapon appears to be a rifle. Not long before the parking lot of Rent-A-Will became a crime scene, surveillance video captured a gray Dodge car pulling into the parking lot and crashing as another car believed to be involved in the shooting slows down, then drives off. The area where the black car slows down is also the same area where police collected multiple rifle shell casings in the street, leading investigators to believe the shots were fired from the black car. A store owner across the street heard the shots.
Real rapid, loud gunfire. It seemed like maybe 12 to 15 shots.
Shot so loud that his customers and employees took cover.
There was a couple here, and the man grabs his girl, wife away and says, "Baby, hit the ground." Like,
both police and our crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson says the shooting could have injured or killed innocent bystanders, especially since the weapon appears to be a rifle.
I'm very surprised and very relieved that there was no other injuries involved in that, because you've got a heavily populated street with constant traffic going back and forth, and you've got a business right there.
Rifle rounds have the potential to travel great distances and ricochet and go in any direction. So
another witness we spoke with says the car that crashed had been parked at this gas station for 25 minutes with both the passenger and driver inside. Then he says moments after it left, he heard gunfire.
Wow, I just saw these people, just now, and look now, like what happened now. I didn't think about it that was gonna happen. That happened too fast.
Now, while a motive behind the shooting appears to be unknown at this time, our crime and safety expert says that this definitely doesn't look like a random act of violence. Reporting live in Arlington, Eric Avanier, Channel 4, the local station.
So not only is there that video, right? There's that video, but then they post right afterwards. So this is the driver. He posts right afterwards. So then Queso takes that and he posts his disc videos, and then Julio posts back, and then Lil Nine is one of the three that are prominently displayed in the Who I Smoke. So we got Bibby, we got Tiki, and we got Lil Nine. All right, now we're going to get into attempts on Julio's life. So now Julio goes to Houston, right? And remember I said earlier where they post up where they are, where they are. So he goes to Houston. He's doing a media event in Houston, and he's posting where he is, saying, come on, come and join me. Kind of similar to what he did on his birthday, but we'll get to that down the road. So then he shot. He says he's in Houston, and then he shot. And then he's posting from the hospital bed, as you can see there. And then when he's driving home, he's actually showing video of the bullet holes in his car, and he's trying to guess the caliber. And then Queso posts, he won't die, his grandma do voodoo. So there's a song that Julio has about voodoo. Then we go to, so that was July 6th, right? This was a July 6th event. So he's shot at on July 5th. Then July 10th, Spin and Benz posts this. It's KU. He drops a song called KU. And there he is smoking, and he's holding a bag, and that's Julio's picture, and it's got a big red line through it. Then we get to Who I Smoke and Fast Money Goon. There's several rappers take their turns. We'll get to that. I'm going to show you the video. And in one of the lines, Fast Money Goon is talking about traveling to Houston. I tote the rocket when I travel. I'm pistol packing in Houston. So I was lurking on his page and caught him lacking in Houston. So again, he's lurking on his page. He's following. They follow each other. It's not hard to follow each other and see where they are. So Fast Money Goon essentially is self-snitching and telling the world that, he caught Julio lacking and tried to take him out. He let off shots. He got shot, and he went live. So then Fast Money Goon went live, and then he was tweaking. He didn't die. So Julio, and they're talking about. That's when they're saying his grandma does voodoo. Julio sings about that too. All right, so then in August, now we have August. So KTA Kojak, he pulls up to Melvin Park and he does a huge diss on ATK, right? So ATK is Melvin Park. That's 1200 block. So Kojak is 6 block. He's with Fulio's crew. So he goes to Melvin Park and he just does all of this stuff. You can see what he's writing there. I don't have to read it out loud. You can see what he's writing. He goes on the swings and he swings on the swings. And then Queso responds. And Queso's responding, and he's saying, there he is in front of their. He's literally he's right there, right? The opposition, the ops, they're like he's literally right there. So then he and Queso kind of go back and forth. He's like, "Hey, Queso, I'm here. Come and find me." Queso's like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And they kind of go back and forth. But nothing ever comes of it. Nothing ever comes of that. So then we go to September 2nd. So now Little Leak gets hit. So this is ATK Little Leak. So around 1:30 a.m., law enforcement heard gunshots at Atlantic Boulevard and Monument Road, and they found a driver of a car with life-threatening injuries. They eventually, that person would pass away. So another driver would drive away, and law enforcement pulled them over, and they found someone with gunshot wounds taken to the hospital. So let's check this out.
Road closures and things that's going on. Busy day on the roads and multiple roads closed in Jacksonville as police are investigating a shooting now. We know at least 2 people were shot, one of them in life-threatening condition. Leah Shields live at this scene with all that led up to this mayhem. Leah?
Hey, Lou, you can see a tow truck just pulled up behind me. They're going to be removing one of the victim's cars from the scene, which has been here all morning. It's actually directly right behind me. It's the black sedan there. I do want to give you guys a traffic alert update. We just saw JSO remove the crime scene tape from the Atlantic Boulevard and Monument Road area, so we do expect them to reopen this area soon. And we also just got an update on Beach Boulevard and Cortez Road. There is 1 lane westbound now reopened. So here's what we know happened. JSO says their officers, which is at the Regency Mall substation, heard shots fired as they were getting off their shift. They come to this area, find a victim. The driver of this car that's about to be taken away, severely shot multiple times. JSO described it as obviously targeted. They see another car get away, and that's where the Beach Boulevard and Cortez Road comes into play. That car was pulled over in a traffic stop. 5 people in that car. 4 of them have been detained as witnesses. One of them, another victim, shot but non-life threatening. At this time, not really sure what the connection is between these two gunshot victims, though JSO also believes there could be a third victim. They say due to the amount of blood on the scene, they think there could have been a third person shot. So again, it's still very active scene, several JSO cars here. So if you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. Live in Regency, Leah Shields, First Coast News on your side.
All right, so that was a little leaky. He was the one that would eventually pass away. So then Julio takes to social media talking about how leaky and how the ops are quiet. And then he goes to a dispensary and he finds a leaky pack. So now the manhunt for Queso and his dad. Remember those two? Remember Hakeem and Abdul? So after a little buck hit, Queso and Julio, they go back and forth. They drop tracks and they go back and forth. Julio drops Fast Life on September 3rd. Killed my dog, killed 3 of y'all, so that means we over equal. You diss on Bibby's name, you're going to die. It's that simple. September 4th, Queso drops back to back. Back to back we drillin', back to back we killin'. We the ones who dropped your mans and buried your partner. Let the Draco dance and watch you do the Bibby dance. I aim for his head. I know for sure he's dead. So again, they're going back and forth, back and forth. And then 1 week later, this happens. Again, when you're self-snitching on yourself, when you're just self-snitching, it doesn't take law enforcement long. You know, I mean, if you're gonna play that game, it doesn't take law enforcement much to catch you. So that's the game they're playing.
Developing now, a father and son have been arrested in connection with a deadly shooting at an Arlington shopping center. 21-year-old Hakeem Robinson and his father, 49-year-old Abdul Robinson, are both in the Duval County Jail. Hakeem Robinson is charged with second-degree murder, and Abdul is charged with accessory after the fact. Investigators believe the two are involved in the shooting death of a man at a shopping center on Merrill Road back in January. That led to a police chase and manhunt in a nearby neighborhood. News4JAX reporter Corley Peel is joining us live. Corley, what else do we know about this father and son?
Sources tell us that Hakeem Robinson is known as a local rapper named Queso. At this time, it's unclear what he and his father's roles were in that deadly shooting, but our News4JAX crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson says it's not unusual for fathers and sons to commit crimes together. In January, surveillance video captured 2 men running through a backyard, jumping a fence during a police chase following a deadly shooting at a shopping center on Merrill Road. 8 months later, JSO announced 21-year-old Hakeem Robinson is charged with second-degree murder, and his father, 49-year-old Abdul Robinson, is charged with accessory after the fact in connection to that deadly shooting. News4JAX crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson says father and sons accused of committing crimes together isn't new.
It's an old adage that fathers are going to look out for their children, or for their sons in this case, no matter what.
Sources confirmed to News4JAX Hakeem Robinson is a local rapper named Queso. He became a part of a News4JAX story last year for his controversial album cover that featured photos of murder victims. A mother of one of the victims told us the photo of her son was in spite of his death and not a memorial. Jefferson says Robinson's music videos and lyrics could help show investigators what he's been up to.
It just increases investigators' curiosity as to, one, why he would continue to do this sort of thing, and two, what is there more that they don't know.
Sources tell News4JAX that some of the lyrics in Queso's music reference gangs and violence. At this time, police have not said if that deadly shooting was related to a gang. Reporting live from JSO, Corley Peel, Channel 4, the local station.
Corley, thanks. A third man, Dominique Barner, is also charged with second-degree murder in the January shooting on Merrill Road. News4JAX learned today Barner is also charged with second-degree murder in the shooting death of a bicyclist on Emerson Street last year.
Yeah, sparkling. Yep. So both of them go to trial, but with different results. So Abdul goes to ultimately took the stand. And we were going to cover this trial, and I I'm not sure why we didn't. I think something else came up. I forget why, but we were going to cover this trial, and I forget what happened, why we didn't. But anyway, so
local rapper and his cousin will spend the rest of their lives in prison. Hakeem Robinson, also known as Queso, along with Leroy Whitaker Jr., were sentenced today in the death of Charles McCormick Jr. Our Haja Ba is joining us live outside the Duval County Courthouse this evening. And Haja, tell us more about what happened inside the courtroom.
Yeah, guys, I was in the courtroom today when Robinson and Whitaker found out they'll be spending the rest of their lives behind bars without parole. Now, both men declined to speak as the judge announced their sentences.
His life was taken unjustly, and the ripple effect of the act that has forever changed his family, friends, and community. But it brings some kind of relief knowing that this individual will no longer have the power to take another life.
Is there anything you wish to say? Okay. By unanimous verdict, and at this time this court will then adjudicate you guilty of that offense and sentence you to the only lawful sentence that this court can impose, and that is mandatory life in prison without the eligibility for parole.
Jacksonville rapper Hakeem Robinson, also known as Queso, and his cousin Leroy Whitaker Jr. were sentenced Wednesday to life in prison without parole for the 2020 killing of 23-year-old Charles McCormick Jr. According to the police, McCormick was shot on January 15, 2020 at Dames Point Plaza in Arlington. An off-duty officer witnessed the shooting and said the gunman stood over McCormick and fired a rifle before fleeing in a Nissan Altima. The officer pursued the car until it crashed. 3 people ran from the scene. Robinson and Whitaker were later arrested and charged with first-degree murder. A jury unanimously found Robinson guilty for first-degree murder on July 31st of this year. Family members of McCormick were in the courtroom, sharing their grief and sending a message to the community.
We pray that this moment causes reflection, not only for those being sentenced, but for anyone listening. One reckless moment, one decision can destroy many lives, including your own. As a community, we must take a stand against music and messages that glorify real violence and the loss of innocent lives.
Now, Hakeem Robinson's team will be back in the courtroom later this month to discuss attorney fees, and of course will continue to provide more updates as it develops. Reporting live outside the Duval County Courthouse, Haja Ba, First Coast News, on your side.
Thank you so much for that. I'm trying to pull that up. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Appreciate you being here and giving us what you're giving us. All right, so that was Leroy Whitaker and Hakeem Queso, and now we're going to get to Abdul. So they both went to trial. Different results. Now, Abdul testified against his son. So they talk about loyalty. Where's the loyalty there?
Today's sentencing brought an end to more than 5 years of court hearings, witness testimony, and negotiations, all tied to the 2020 murder of Charles Little Buck McCormick Jr. And today, one of the men involved walked out of court with another chance at life.
I sincerely apologize for my part in whatever grief they have.
A rare moment of emotion from Abdul Robinson Sr. as he addressed the family of Charles Little Buck McCormick Jr., the man killed in 2020 in a case that has now spanned more than 5 years. Robinson Sr., the father of rapper Hakeem Queso Robinson, also testified against his own son during his murder trial. Before hearing his own fate, he described the toll the last 5 years have taken, including the last 3 months spent in total isolation for his safety.
This situation broke me in many ways. They have me over there in the county jail, and it's really not 23 and 1. It's 24 hours locked down, no human contact besides officers when they come feed you. I I think I've been outside about 3 times in the last 90 days.
The judge acknowledged Robinson's cooperation, saying his testimony helped secure multiple convictions. She sentenced him to time served, plus 2 years of community control with an ankle monitor and 3 years of probation. After Robinson Sr.'s sentencing, the court turned to Dominique Barner, who admitted to being the getaway driver in the case.
I will acknowledge, as your attorneys advised, that you did decide to plead early and fully for your cooperation in this matter. If you were before me on these variety of cases, I would be sentencing you to life in prison today.
Instead, Barner was sentenced to 25 years in prison plus 3 years of probation. For his safety, the judge says Barner will be sent out of state to serve his time. Alicia Hatcher, Channel 4, the local station.
Oh, so they sent Barner out of state. I didn't know that. That's one part I didn't know about. All right, so now all this happening, law enforcement, of course, is taking a closer look at what's going on, and they're looking at all the past shootings and everything that's happening. And when you're self-snitching on yourself, it makes it easy.
Live from the local station, News 4 Jax starts now.
News 4 Jax is now learning more about the arrest of a man in the fatal shooting of a 23-year-old rapper earlier this year. And this arrest is starting to expose a tangled web of gang-related murders here in Jacksonville over the past 2 years. Behind us, a look at just 6 people arrested in the past few weeks.
The latest is the arrest of Hakeem Robinson. He's charged with killing Charles McCormick. News 4 Jax I-Team reporter Scott Johnson is joining us live with what we know about how this killing ties in with several others since last year. Scott.
So many aspects of this, Mary, I've been going through all day and starting to piece things together. You have a variety of suspects, a variety of victims, different links for different cases, but you start to see that web you described between all these homicides. Here's the complex timeline. January 16th, 2019, rapper Willie Addison is killed. 5 others wounded in Spring Park. The victims had just left a rap music event at Paradise Gentlemen's Club on Bay Meadows Road. Then, around 2 weeks later, Damon Rothermel is shot and killed riding his bicycle on Emerson Street, hit by a stray bullet from a shootout between cars. Fast forward a year to this past January, 23-year-old Charles McCormick is shot and killed in Arlington. In the past 2 weeks, 6 people have been arrested linked to at least one of the killings. Hakeem Robinson is charged in the McCormick killing. Both men had social media accounts that police looked at in their investigation. On Robinson's Instagram, there was a story posted of a child singing a song entitled KSO Homicide by rapper Yungeen Ace, a local rapper who has made headlines before. The video was posted after the murder of Charles McCormick. Also another story, which depicted Hakeem Robinson at a nail salon receiving a pedicure with the caption, "Kill a N-word, then go get my toes done." News 4 Jax crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson says social media accounts like these and rap videos are often monitored by investigators because they will give coded clues in feuds between gangs.
A lot of times the rap videos sends out a message, and you got to pay close attention to the lyrics of it. Sometimes they'll tell that someone has been murdered. They might even implicate a person.
There's been one other arrest this week that's made headlines. Elisa Tarver, a JSO employee arrested for alerting gang members of pending arrest warrants. It's not clear at this point if Tarver's arrest is linked to these specific cases. And I want to talk to you about one thing that happened here. Police were able to make their case against Robinson because of a confidential informant who went in and was able to record Barner, who admitted to and implicated in the McCormick murder Robinson's father, and Leroy Whitaker, who we still do not have a photo of. So just very complex set of situations. For now, we're live. Scott Johnson, Channel 4, the local station.
And Scott, this isn't the first time Hakeem Robinson has been in the news.
No, it's not, Mary. We brought up a story involving him last year where there was an album released that by him, and the screen grab on the image of the album showed different homicide victims in the area. Back to you.
Scott Johnson reporting to us live. Thank you, Scott.
So self-snitching doesn't get you anywhere. All right, now we go to November 19th and 20th of 2020. And this is Julio's friends, Spaz 2X and Rod K. So next we're going to talk about these two. So this is a post from Julio. So Rod K was my actual brother. Y'all got to stop that. He was killed at Dunn's getting blunts. Y'all sound dumb ASF. He died the night before. The dude that got killed on Dunn's was the next day, not related to Rod whatsoever. Y'all just go to Newsjacks and pick an article that says someone got shot and stick it in so-and-so and go around telling people that was them. That wasn't even his article, ABT, about him. Rod K was in that article that said slew of evidence markers at Hilltop, and then go on to say a man just died here last night too. That was Spaz 2X. And then Ace and ATK post multiple videos dissing the hits. So then we go to, that was November of 2020. Let's fast forward to February 21st of 2020. And now we're in Orlando. So two close friends of WAPA and Spinabenz are shot and killed. This is Brandon Bevel 5, and Darian Sulf, or Michi. So this happened at 2:15 a.m.
Orlando police say these men, 25-year-old Darian Sulf and 31-year-old Brandon Bevel, were found shot to death Sunday morning inside their car. It had crashed into a bus stop on East Colonial, just west of the intersection with Bumby. According to police, the men were driving west on Colonial Drive around 2:15 Sunday morning when another car pulled up next to them and an unknown number of suspects opened fire. People who live in the area heard the violent attack.
First, it sounded like cars like squealing, and then you just heard a big bang, but it sounded like an explosion. And that was it. That's all you heard. And after you heard that, you saw lights and sirens everywhere.
Police say that Sulf and Bevel had traveled to Orlando from Jacksonville for some nightlife. But investigators have released no information about who shot the men or why.
The scene here was active for hours. They didn't clear it until noon on Sunday, and then shortly after that, flowers and balloons appeared as a memorial to the lives lost.
People traveling through the area Sunday were shaken by news of the violence.
It's shocking for me. This is a safe neighborhood, and you very rarely see something like this.
When asked about possible suspects, police said the investigation is in its early stages and no other information was available. In Orlando, Amanda Dukes, WESH 2 News.
So those two were pretty high up in the command chain, if you will, because Spinabenz post, my big brother, CEO, big homie, this hurts so bad. So they were pretty high up. So then Julio takes to social media and he posts 2 new op packs. Why the ops crying today? Then on February 28th, Spinabenz drops drill time. I told y'all Rock K was dead before his body had got found. I want Charles put dead. I put that on my Christmas list. Charles being Charles Jones. So, 1 week before the iconic Who I Smoke track is dropped, Queso then is formally charged. And now his dad is looked at as the leader of ATK going back 30 years. So let's dive into this. Literally a week before Who I Smoke is dropped. So again, as I said, the police are looking into all this past violence and whatnot, and they're looking and they're finding.
A local rapper linked to a violent gang in Jacksonville is in jail on 2 separate murder charges.
Hakeem Robinson was charged in connection with the 2019 murder of 16-year-old Adrian Gaynor Jr. News for Jax reporter Corley Peel spoke with Gaynor's family tonight.
I still don't sleep, I still don't eat, and they still don't bring my baby back.
Now this is Bibby. You guys remember? This is Bibby. So Adrian Gaynor is Bibby. You guys remember that name? Bibby's a huge player in this.
Corley is now joining us. Reporter Corley Peel spoke with Gaynor's family tonight.
I still don't sleep, I still don't eat, and they still don't bring my baby back.
Corley is now joining us live.
Yeah, Corley, how was this arrest made?
Hakeem Robinson has already been here in Duval County Jail, serving time for a different murder in 2020. He was served an arrest warrant last week in connection to Adrian Gaynor's murder, and as long as Robinson is in jail, Gaynor's mother feels the community is safe. Hakeem Robinson sits in Duval County Jail with 2 separate murder charges. His latest arrest is in connection to the 2019 murder of 16-year-old Adrian Gaynor.
It's bittersweet. I'm glad they finally got him off the street so he can't hurt anybody else's baby.
Robinson has been in jail since September in connection to the 2020 murder of Charles McCormick Jr. His father, Abdul Robinson, is also in jail, charged with accessory after the fact in that same murder. Abdul Robinson Jr. is also suspected of murder in that case and is wanted by the U.S. Marshals. In a news conference last year, JSO says the Robinsons are a part of a violent drug trafficking organization called ATK, also known as Ace's Top Killers. Police say the group consists of 9 people. Abdul Robinson is the leader.
9 people, potentially responsible for 15 murders that we know of, and who knows what else.
Investigators say Adrian Gaynor was shot and killed at the Hilltop Village Apartments. A witness told police Hakeem Robinson shot Gaynor at a close range. Detectives say Robinson bragged about Gaynor's murder. Gaynor's nickname was Bibby. His mother says Robinson named an album after her son called Bibby Out. His picture is on the album cover with several other murder victims. Robinson also wrote about Gaynor in his songs, using the lyrics, "You know we smoke, little Bibby." What was that like seeing that?
Hell, that every video took my breath away. It took my family's breath away. My kids had to see that.
Gaynor would have celebrated his 19th birthday on Friday.
That was my light. They turned off my light.
Gaynor's mother hopes Robinson won't ever leave jail. Mad Dads has worked closely with Gaynor's family over the past couple of years. They say they are grateful that a witness came forward with information about Gaynor's murder, and they encourage more witnesses to speak up so that more families can get justice. Reporting live, Corley Peel, Channel 4, the local station.
Now, what's really crazy in a story that's already crazy. So April 26th, 2021, Julio and Ace go on Clubhouse and they start talking to each other. And Zion Brown's sister joins in and she's just jawing back and forth. And then Julio talks about a fight with Little Papa in 2018. So they literally are on Clubhouse, which is just this, social media app that you can talk live with people. And they're literally just like going back and forth with each other. And then Lil Nine's brother calls in. So you literally have like all these major players in this beef just going on and on talking with each other. So that's April 26th. Now we get to some of the most iconic moments of this beef. So ATK drops Who I Smoke. And I'm going to play it, but I'm not going to play the audio. But here's some of the lyrics. Here's some of the lyrics, and it starts out with a Vanessa Carlson remix. And again, I'm not going to play the audio because we'll get smacked. But I'm just going to play the video. So if you guys are interested, I'll put this in the description. And you guys can go check it out, but I'm not going to play the audio. So I'll set the stage for you. So this is Yungeen Ace's crew. So this is ATK, and if you keep an eye out, so he swings and he hits. Now if you notice what comes off of the T, is a casing. So Fast Money Goon, Spin a Benz, Whopper with the Chopper. And again, I'm not going to play the audio. We'll just stick with the video. So remember all those that we mentioned before. So if you're familiar with Vanessa Carlson's Walk 1,000 Miles. So they each take a turn rapping, and let me see if I can pull up some of the lyrics. Well, it's kind of hard for that. Oh, Brent. Hey, Brent, how are you? Good to see you. So here's Bibby, as we know. If you guys remember Bibby, there's Tiki, Who I Smoke, there's Lil 9. So those are all Julio's buddies and cousins, literally blood related and best friends. Fast Money Goon. So what makes this song really, I think, popular and yet disturbing is that the song itself is really catchy. And I would ask you guys, just go check it out. I'll put it in the description. So go check it out. And it's, like I said, it's catchy, but once you know what they're singing about, it becomes really disturbing. Because what they're singing about, they're not hiding anything. When I see you, I'm going to push your back, boy. Choppa, get to spitting through your set. You don't fight. 12 paramedics couldn't save your life. Rock K dead. He ain't never coming back. So, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. They talk about Little Petey. They talk about Trey D. And then the big moments are Who I Smoke, Bibby, Who I Smoke, Tiki, Who I Smoke, Lil 9, and Now I Wonder. So it's a really catchy tune, and that's that's why it's so popular. Let me see how many hits it has right now. What's it currently at? $58 million views 5 years ago. It has 58 million views. So I do invite you to go check it out. It'll give you a little bit of understanding of this trial that we're about to cover. So in response, Julio goes to Melvin Park, where ATK is based out of, and he hands out money to kids. So he then responds by going to the park, and he hands out money to these kids. Then he goes and he records a beatbox remix Bibby flow. So let's check this out. And then later he drops When I See You. So we'll get to When I See You. So those two songs go down in the history of this rivalry as all right. Then so just almost immediately he drops this. So you got Who I Smoke on one side, and you got When I See You on the other. Now this one is about 4 shot, 3 dead. This is about the Wasabi restaurant. Wasabi wet restaurant. So those are the three. Those are the three that were there were 4 shot. Yungeen Ace was one of them. Those were the three that died. So again, I'm not going to play the audio, but this is now Julio dropping "When I See You." So it's 23, Quan and Kobe. So when you first hear this song, like when I first heard this song, I didn't really know much about the backstory. And I'm like, oh, when I see you, he's like driving around. Oh, when I see you, I'm like, oh, this is really sweet. And then once I got to know more and more, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, you're totally dissing on them. He's like, yeah, I'm just driving around, pulling up into your hood, and when I see you, I thought, oh, he's going to see, he's looking forward to seeing these guys. Yeah, no. It's completely opposite of what you think when you first hear it. And again, this is what drill rap's all about, where they just broadcast everything that's going on in their life. Thank you, Joanne, for the 5 Trial TV Live gifted memberships. Appreciate that. So we'll go ahead and we'll put these in the description. Let me do that right now for you guys. Well, actually, I'll do it at the end. If you are interested in this trial, I would definitely suggest listening to these songs and understanding both sides, because nobody's a saint in this story. Both sides have a lot to do with what happened. Oh, okay, sorry. Aaron already did it. Sorry, guys. Aaron already put that in the description. So this is a massive disrespect for these 3. But Who I Smoke is a massive disrespect on ATK's part. So again, both sides are just disrespecting each other left and right. All right, so after that, we go to August 16th of 2023. Jaquan Pickens, a.k.a. J-Jit from 6 Block, he's shot on I-95, and he crashes into a semi-truck. Then we have August 17th, we've got a football practice. Jacoby Beals, a.k.a. Labobi, he's shot, but he survives. Then August 7th, KTA and Tilly is set up. He's shot along. So he's set up. So let me just play this. This one is so convoluted. He has an Uber driver take him to this house, and then the Uber driver is taken out as well. So we have some video on this. So 2023 was very active. You have August 16th, you got J-Jit is shot in the freeway. He crashes into a semi-truck. August 17th, there's a football practice shooting where Jacoby Beals is shot. Then you have this shooting that happened October 7th. And then literally a couple hours later, Julio is shot in the foot.
Our top story tonight, 2 people now charged in connection to a deadly double shooting of this Uber driver and passenger in Moncrief earlier this month. We previously told you the names of the victims, the driver, Bryant Grund, and his passenger, Antonio Tilley.
Now, the arrest report says that this shooting was gang-related. Taylor Levesque is on your side live tonight looking through the arrest report. So, Taylor, what do we know about the people accused in these murders?
Well, we're learning that 22-year-old Jaquan Mills is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 23-year-old Diamond Harris is charged with accessory after the fact. The report says that both Mills and Harris were dating, and police are looking for a third suspect.
Less than a month since the shooting deaths of an Uber driver and passenger, 2 people, 22-year-old Jaquan Mills and 23-year-old Diamond Michaela Harris, are now charged. Their mugshots have not yet been released. On October 6th, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office found a Mini Cooper club van that had crashed into a home on Kylan Drive West. 2 men were shot to death. Earlier this month, First Coast News identified both victims as 31-year-old Bryant Grund and 19-year-old Antonio Tilley. We're told Grund, the Uber driver, was an innocent bystander, while Tilley, the passenger, was the target. The arrest report says the shooting was gang-related and the victim was shot due to ongoing gang beef and issues. Mills told detectives the victim had $20,000 on his head, which means whoever kills the victim will receive $20,000 payment, according to the report. Mills says he got paid $10,000 because he had to split it with the second shooter. The arrest report says that person is known to law enforcement but has not yet been located. Through interviews, the reports say investigators discovered the victim was going to the area of Kylan Drive West to meet a woman, and they were possibly going to meet up for a date. That woman was identified as Diamond Harris. The report says during Harris's interview with detectives, she admitted to speaking with the victim through Instagram, voice calls, and text messages. Detectives found texts between Harris and Mills discussing what she should say to the victim to keep him interested in seeing her and to presumably lure him to her location. The report says content on Harris's phone also shows Mills was helping her with what to say to the victim. Mills told detectives he used Harris's Instagram account pretending to be her to message and speak to the victim. The arrest report says data from Mills' phone shows he was at the scene at the time of the homicide. Mills admitted to shooting the victims along with another suspect.
Both Harris and Mills are out of jail and on house arrest, and both are represented by public offenders, according to court documents. First Coast News reached out to the family of both of the victims, and we were told that they had not been notified by JSO of the arrest of the suspects. We reached out to JSO tonight, but have not heard back. Live in downtown Jacksonville, Taylor Levesque, First Coast News, on your side.
All right, so then literally 5 or 6 hours later, Julio, he's leaving his house. He's leaving his residence in his black Charger. He's going down West 16th Street near Paxton School for Advanced Studies, and he's shot, and then he undergoes surgery for foot injuries. Now, here's what's interesting. Ballistics show that the casings were the same found here as they were in Tampa on June 23rd of 2023. So keep that in mind. That's really, really important. So tomorrow we're going to cover Charles Jones's backstory. So today we did the history between the two. Tomorrow we're going to cover Charles Jones and his story. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into his story. But before we go, I want to leave you with one more little teaser. I want to leave you with a teaser here of what you can expect to see tomorrow. This is just So that's what we will be doing tomorrow. We will be covering Charles Jones's backstory. As far as meet and greets, we don't do meet and greets, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen at some point. But right now, we don't do meet and greets. So that will conclude our history of ATK and KTA. I'm sure I know there are lots of things that we missed on both sides, but tomorrow we're going to be diving into Charles Jones's backstory, and I'm going to add a lot more that I didn't show today. I'm going to talk about tomorrow. So the two will they'll be hand in hand. I didn't want to go too much into Charles's backstory. I just wanted to give you a little bit. So tomorrow I'm going to go more in depth on his upbringing, his music, and the multiple times that he was shot, and then ultimately his life was taken. So yes, Heidi, that is real. That was real. Now, when I first saw that, I'm like, that's a movie, right? No, they have video from the Tesla. They have video from the hotel that they were staying at. So there you are. Hey, Brett. Wait, hold on. Let me pull you up here. Hold on. I got to get you up here. Wait, hold on. Why can't I get you? There you go. Thank you. Appreciate that. And thank you for joining us. All right. Hope to see you guys tomorrow. Great Live. I'll definitely be here tomorrow. You have a time. 9 o'clock. We'll do 9 o'clock Eastern. And with that, we are going to take a little bit of a break, and then we're going to come back with our stream of NASA, our Orion splashdown. I know it's like two completely different worlds, but that's what we do here. We don't just cover trials. We do a lot. We do a lot here. Let me just make sure I've got a redirect set up for you guys. Let me add our redirect. So with that, thank you for joining. We have a redirect set up for our stream for Orion, and I will also go ahead and I'll post that here for you guys. I'm going to bump that up. We have a 2 o'clock start. I think I'm going to bump that up a little bit. Maybe we'll bump that up to 1:30. Here's the Orion press conference afterwards. Orion post. Let's see. I can spell right. Splashdown. All right. So I do have a redirect set up, but there's the video for the post splashdown. Thank you, Brett. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much. So, all right. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you to our mods. Thank you for keeping it civil and courteous here. We do like your opinions, even Super Bowl, even though she can be grumpy. She likes your opinion as well, just as long as you keep it civil, right, Super Bowl? Keep it civil or else Super Bowl is going to come and smack you. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to our mods. Thank you to Aaron. We really appreciate you spending your day with us. And tomorrow, join us again for part 2 of our deep dive into Charles Jones, Julio Foolio. Trial will be starting next week. We do have a interest in the case beyond just the story. We have people that are representing the defendants, and we will be bringing you information more from that and for that to come. So with that, hopefully we'll see you. I'm going to take a break for about an hour. So hopefully we will see you at our Orion post splashdown stream. And if we don't see you there, join us tomorrow at 9 o'clock for part 2 of Julio Foolio. All right, guys, take care, and we'll see you then. Bye.